I don't know what it was, but that one bumped it out. So that's probably good. Okay. Start watching. Do I want to? Yay! It's live.
Not really.
Do I have the right?
But if you just listen.
I didn't even check to see if I have the right output settings. I do. Man, I'm good. All right, there we are. I hope those are the right ones.
In the HUD.
Whoo! Yeah, so I tweeted out. Gosh, I got a burp.
Do it.
I didn't tweet out that.
You tweeted you got a burp?
Oh man, that was like a dragon. I totally like muted because that would have been horrible.
Simpson, Barney.
Oh yeah, like Barney Simpson. Yep. But I tweeted out that that one extra live stream for like fucking 6 or 8 hours or whatever that I played Paragon, y'all hung out for a bit. Graham till the bitter end. Yeah, that did it apparently. So the channel now has bit author, or is it? I don't know. We're weaponized now, is what I said.
Yeah.
Oh man, so we can throw bits at you, or bits. Yeah. I don't know. It just sounds.
Do you have any fancy awful things?
New affiliate. Do I have fancy awful things? I did not add any technology, if that's what you mean. So our weaponry is like low grade primal. Maybe next time.
Nice.
I'll put in the. See, the problem is I don't want any of that shit actually in the recording. You understand that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you could do like a visual one because that wouldn't mess with audio.
I could even do audio and then I mute the tab anyways. And don't even have to play it, although I do tend to play it sometimes just so I can make sure things are not, like, broke. But I could, so people could, so they could say whatever the fuck they want, and then it won't get into the... No, it will get in the recording.
Yeah, it would.
It would totally get in the recording. No, it won't, because it's coming from my... It's coming from mine.
They either wouldn't hear it, or it
won't come out on the main recording because... It's not playing through my shit, and they're not going to hear it because, it's not playing through my shit. Fair enough. We're not going to do that.
No audio things. But you can do a picture thing.
We can do picture things? I don't know what that means.
Pics, man.
I don't know what that means, picture things.
There you go. Yeah, you could just take an assortment of the various pictures of things that got contributed or something.
Right.
Make them pop up.
Yeah, that's work. I could do that. I could look for images to add to share things.
You could do that. It's true. Yeah. These are options.
Yep. Or we could just focus on the recording and talk about the B3E3.
Yeah, B3, at some point we could do that. Did I actually host the right channel there? Oh, God. All right.
Because if you're listening, you ain't going to see none of that shit. Too.
No, well, I'll probably end up cutting all of this first part. You got to remember I do all
true.
that.
What? I warmed up my vocals for nothing.
You're hosting. There we are. Well, TC appreciates it, I'm sure. Yeah, well, mine really have normalized because when I first started, I would just woke up again, so I was all... So they literally are getting back in line here.
Where'd you wake up from, a swamp?
Yes, that's actually where I live in Texas, in a swamp. It feels like that. Well, I had to turn the AC down because I think I was getting myself sick because you keep it cold, right? Because it fucking sucks because it's hot as fuck. But then you also have allergies. I have allergies. A lot of people have allergies, and because this place is trying to kill us, that's why. And so then you always have constant drainage, so you're like in a state of perpetual, I'm about to get an upper respiratory infection / sinus infection because of all the mucus just generated because of allergies because the planet wants to kill us.
Yeah, I was just going to say, why do people live in Texas?
Because I don't know.
Nature is trying to kill you.
It's my motherland.
Weather is trying to kill you.
The people that came here tried to kill me. Yeah. And now they want to push. Yeah, it's just, God.
And all of that's followed up by, welcome to Texas.
Yeah.
Everything's bigger.
Everything's bigger, including the allergies that get snorted into your nose and try to block everything up and cause all kinds of havoc. Yeah. Yeah. New affiliate channel. B3 GamingCast, episode 60. The B3E3 recast show. I like the name. I like the sound of that. name thing title.
True.
B3E3 recast.
It's got repetition.
Right. You gotta
Speaking
say
of
like a really
repetition,
cool voice, you know.
People should come and show us their tiggle bitties.
They should come all over this channel and
come all over the bitties.
Well,
yeah.
Bring your
word
bitties.
choice. Word choice is important in life, people. Where do we start? Where do we end? I kind of want to go through. I was telling Graham before you got here, Phil, that. Well, actually, I think you just showed up. My memory is broken right now, like usual. So we got an email. I think you were here. Yeah, we got an email.
I was here.
It was not an email though. It was just a notification from YouTube. It's a notification from YouTube saying we got a message on and I'm like, I'm so desperate for B3 GamingCast at gmail.com. Send us your thoughts on stuff. Anyway, so I got a notification from YouTube, and it says I have to read it. It's from Empire NCS. Come on, that's amazing, right?
Nice.
Wonderful video, friend, is how he starts off. That's a great way to start.
Yeah.
That is a great. I will provide you with a shout out on my channel if you simply make an account on my buddy's website. The last individual who got a shout out gained over 200 subscribers. Merely sign up. I'm not kidding. He puts merely. Who uses that other than me and other weird fucking nerds? Sign up and verify your email so it goes through, or else I can't give you a shout out. Let me know when you do this and I'll put you in my next video. Haha. I know there's no punctuation in any of this. Haha, I know it seems very strange. There is a comma. But you can take my word for it. Oh, that's good to know. I'm glad. Just trying to get my friend's site off the ground so he can pay for his family's bills. Aw, tear. Anything helps. Oh, hey, me too, buddy. Also, hey, I make websites. So why didn't you come to me for that work to get done so I can pay for my family's bills? Jerk.
I'm expecting to hear Sarah McLachlan's song just kick in at some point in that email.
I want to hear the Bork version of it.
The Bork version of everything.
By the way, we were on 109 Volts streams on Twitch, of course, and we were on his channel, and we were spamming his channel with fucking meme songs like a motherfucker, and I was trying to find every Bork song I could find, and I broke my internet.
Yep.
You borked your internet with all the borks.
Mm-hmm. Now we know memes can kill. Who knew?
It's true.
Yep.
Now you know. But they came by and they reran wires and whatnot. I'm not even kidding. Spectrum came by, ran some wires, and everything seems fine.
Oh man, it must be nice to have an internet company that actually connects wires to your house.
You know, I'm lucky. I mean, because usually how it goes, you just get a variety of different, what do I want to do today? Kind of like people that show up for maintenance. You know, it's like, do I want to just test the equipment, or do I want to maybe just replace the wiring? Maybe I want to just blame the owner for their porn addiction. I'm just saying, you never know what it's their choice. It's like a lazy Susan of choices, you know, and they just spin it and just pluck whatever they want off of that, and there you go, you know.
You know what that makes me think now? Is now I'm picturing like in their like generic company van thing, this big spinner on the wall, and they just spin it like, nope, I guess this is what we're going with today.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude,
What came up?
I rolled the porn 3 jobs in a row, man.
Yeah.
Gets real old real fast. Dude, no way.
But it's also true. So any one of these things could probably help. Maybe I will vaguely threaten them, outing them with how much porn usage and types of porn that they visit as the problem and possible viruses flooding their system. Yeah, that's the real issue.
Much.
Yeah,
as long as they're on the site like grannysex.com or
Go
Play or
problem
something.
with
That's
your
it.
porn is
you just don't go there once.
It's missing 3 vital elements: It's missing some beer. It's missing some bullshit. It's missing some bullets.
Yeah. In no particular order. Yeah. Okay. Let's with that email out of the way, and me having to burp every 5 minutes apparently. Yeah, let's get down to some games. Really quickly before we start talking about like B3 game, B3,
Whoa!
E3 games that came out. Killing Floor 2, which a bunch of the B3 people have for sure, is going to be running a. Actually, they already started, and I didn't know. Yep. And a bunch of us have this.
Apparently.
13th. Yeah, the 12th, or was it the 3rd? I thought it was the 12th.
I read a lot of stuff on the 12th said that tomorrow, which would then be the 13th.
The Summer Sideshow introduces a host of new content to Killing Floor 2. And that's out now. So apparently circus-themed maps, or just one, I don't know. I haven't played it yet. I'm trying to pick through all of this, like 5 fucking paragraphs. I know you have, what did I say earlier? There's, here we go, 50 different items obtainable by earning tickets. What the items are, I don't know. It says things like face paint.
Cosmetic stuff and cosmetic stuff and weapons or something like that, I think, as well.
Well, yeah, here it says in the update, the HZ12 shotgun is for the support perk only, and the center fire lever action is primarily for sharpshooter, and multi-perk with gunslinger. Hopefully that means something to somebody. I don't play enough of the game to actually know. The map.
Part of it.
Oh yeah, does it make sense?
Some of it.
Okay.
There's something that.
I only like the character that shoots like grenades and blows things to fuck up. That's me.
Yeah.
The demolition one. Gunslinger's the dual wielder.
So the map is called apparently the Tragic Kingdom, which just makes me think of Graham. Right? Graham? No? You don't know?
Dark Souls? What?
No! Dark Souls? No. Ska band. Gwen Stefani. Wasn't her...
Oh, No Doubt?
No Doubt. Wasn't theirs called Tragic Kingdom or something like that? Something Kingdom?
I don't
God damn it. One of their
early
albums. No Doubt.
But I also have never been good with album names.
I swear to God. Tragic Kingdom 1995. I'm fucking good. All right. God damn. It's because my brain is stuck in the 90s. That's why. So I should go to Portland. Dream of the 90s is alive in Portland.
Through the 90s, you get bodied.
Yeah, I love that show. Yeah, so a bunch of stuff. Also, the game is going to be on sale for the entire month. It's a short 1-month event, 50% off. So if you're interested in killing zombies and you like killing clown zombies, I guess, yeah, go play the game. Either way, 50% off is not bad, so that's pretty cool. Kind of want to get that out of the way because it's not a new game, but it looked like a pretty significant amount of content. At first, I thought it was something Payday 2 related because they often do something, for the summer as well. But no, was not. But yeah. Let's see. Free on PS4 right now. That's right. Graham, were you saying something about it going to consoles recently or something like that?
Yeah, I don't remember if I think it was last month. I think it was last month on PlayStation, PS4. It was the free game for PS Plus.
Well, there you go.
So
all you have to have is a PS4 and PS Plus, which is that's a paid service,
and
right?
And a time machine to go last month if you wanted it for free.
Hey,
you could probably buy it.
All right, Marty McFly.
Somebody is telling me it's free right now. Maybe that's what I was thinking. It's this month. I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, we speaking of free right now. Well, it's not free anymore. We played a little bit of Gears of War 4 when it was free, and the game's a pretty nice game.
Yeah, it's nice. A little clunky to me, but that's what Gears is.
Oh yeah. Controls on the PC, like keyboard and mouse, definitely. It feels like a tanker truck. Your character feels like a big, just bloated, like heavy, hard to control thing. Yeah, but you can get used to it, like anything. Human beings are great at adapting.
And I also
like a cruise ship.
Felt like the people felt heavy on console, but in a good way.
Okay.
It handled apparently differently, cleaner, or to be as expected.
Yeah, it also could just be that I'm garbage with controls. So don't, people that know me already know.
Playing Gears of War 2. I think that was the one I played on Xbox a long time ago when I visited a friend of mine in Atlanta, and it's definitely console oriented in terms of how the controls, because it flows and works a lot better. But whoever did the PC port, they should go back to porting school or something. I don't know.
And die.
It's not. No. They didn't. You don't have to die. You just need to go back to school and relearn how to do some things, because it wasn't horrible. It wasn't a horrible port. It's playable. It's still fun, but it needs some tweaking.
Yeah. Graham, you had to get in there and give us bits first. But Graham Watusi, thanks for the bits, guys. Graham, although that kind of feels like you're taking poop from your butt and putting it into your mouth because you're on the cast.
Hey, I'm just taking the ads and shoving them over here.
Yeah, eat it. Oh, nom, 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 nom.
It's not even my butthole. It's
the
weird Twitch ad butthole. But I am smearing it all over myself.
Yeah, we actually haven't.
You're all welcome for that soundbite.
Just to clarify, we haven't run any video like webcam since like early in the year. I don't really personally like doing it, and not all of us have a webcam anyway, and it's also a pain in the damn ass. So I just rather not deal with webcams and stuff like that. If their technology comes out there that is, number one, not Skype, number two, free, number three, not a pain in the ass, and number four, actually works every time, then I'll consider doing it again. But until then, it's just always a super pain, and this is a labor of love. So, meaning it's free. So, actually, it costs me to do this. So, yeah, no, I don't want to add more to my shit.
I've looked at a few podcasts that have they do the webcams on Twitch, and man, the stress that they get, the dropouts and drop-ins.
Oh yeah,
and then,
ridiculous. And we didn't even have, back when it was Gamertron, myself, and Count, we didn't even have dropouts like that. So we were blessed, but still, we had so many like quality problems that it was ridiculous and not worth it, and I hated it. Okay, let's get to some E3 games.
E3 games.
I don't want to go first. E3. Somebody else go first. Tell what was interesting. You didn't have to love it. You didn't have to want to go balls deep on it. I just want what was interesting to you.
It was interesting, and it's more interesting to me how people react than the actual factoid. But the not a Scorpio, but Xbox One X is $500.
What is up with that name?
They called the Xbox One the Xbox One
S,
and it was
Xbox
the third
One X.
None of their names make sense. They went from Xbox, fair, that's the first one.
Is it X or 10?
To the Xbox 360, to the Xbox One, to the Xbox One X.
S. Xbox One 10?
They've been saying X, so
I know. I just clarifying because you could look at X as Roman numeral 10.
Yeah, you could.
So,
but yeah, they just don't know how to name stuff. They're just trying to be edgier or neater. It's going to be like 2, 3, 4, but it doesn't help.
Well, 1S, but then now they have the 1X. But I don't.
S is just slim variant, whatever.
But isn't the S a little bit more powerful? No, that's the Scorpio specifically, right?
Correct, and the Scorpio turns out to be the 1X.
I honestly think that there's one time where the project name sounds better than the actual thing. They should have just called it Xbox Scorpio. Just stay with it.
Right? But you know what? They also had one called Katana, right? Wasn't it them? They should have fucking called the thing Katana. Yeah, okay, if it wasn't them, then that was Sony. One of them had
there's
console
the
named
verbal
Katana.
Whatever command, which is Cortana.
No. I will find this for you. It's an R&D name, and I will find it for you. I know I'm not insane. Katana, that was for the Dreamcast. Dolphin was for the GameCube.
Feel old, man.
Xenon, Nitro. There's all these like Laser, Blazer,
Old man.
Michelle.
Stay a while and listen.
You know what? People still talk about the Dreamcast like it was the greatest thing since anything ever in the world ever. And I remember it. And the buddy that I had that bought it was like, oh, this is so the best. And we were all just like, all right, what do you got? This fishing game.
Oh, man.
And I was like, what?
Yeah. Plus, you had that little screen that didn't really do much, but could do stuff. Dude.
And then
I'm just gonna say that cocaine is a really bad idea, but a lot of people still do it. Just gonna toss that out there.
Yeah,
People make some stupid mistakes.
like most drugs, they're like, no, that's totally fine as long as you just keep a handle on it. Hey, it's a drug. Guess what? You're not going to probably. The history of humanity states you're probably just look at the numbers. Yeah, just look at the numbers.
Going back to the thing.
Yeah.
People were like, what the fuck? $500? And I'm like, what the fuck? The last few things been around there, and this one has got super cool like performance hardware shit.
What was the PlayStation 4 going at? Wasn't that like wrong?
The last gen I think released at 400. It might have started at 500. They always start somewhere around there and drop. So.
I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, my whole thing is that look, you can't expect better specs at the same price.
Yeah, right.
The whole thing is that what they're selling you, that's a loss leader for them. Always, they always toss in better specs than what they sell it for. You take those same specs and try to put into. I mean, it would be a crappy PC if you do, but you take those specs and put that into a PC, it can cost you more money because they sell that to you at that reduced price so that you buy the games. Mm-hmm. You don't make money off of hardware. You make money off of software.
Yeah.
Yep. And but that's like the number one thing. People are like, "What the fuck? I'm a cat." I'm like, "What?
Here's what I think they were going for, but somebody steered them just a little off course, so they didn't fully hit that iceberg. They just scraped the side of it. This is what I think that somebody came up with. I put it in chat. I think that's what they wanted to do. But somebody was just like, no, let's just let's just call it the X. I see where you're going. I think the kids are down with that, as they say. I think it's woke, but we're just gonna back off a little bit, Rob. Okay, Rob, we're gonna back off just a little bit.
For those that can't see it, it looks like every generic Xbox gamer tag ever. So it's it's got the X's in the front and the end, but some are capital, some aren't.
Oh yeah.
It's got some underscores to make the middle thing show up, and then it's got box 1. Yeah. So yeah, Xbox 1 X.
And to be fair, it's not even a young gamer thing. I've gone to some Twitch streams where their names were like that same, and I'm oh wow, I feel bad.
And I've been making fun of them ever since I was in high school and started playing games online, and it's still a thing.
I guess some people just find it neat, like it presents well. Like
my favorite thing
dick in a box. No, it's not the same thing. It's not. Neither one is a good idea.
My favorite thing ever was the stupid Leet Speak name that I made for like a 1 month free account back in Halo 2 days. And I literally just with one friend of mine, he made also a really stupid name, and we just went around and we tried to encourage people to do dance parties instead of actually play objectives, and we would convince people to throw games and stuff, and that's all we would do, and we would make up stuff. But I'm gonna throw this. It looks like absolute cancer, but it was like that, except it was I forgot that. Hold on. I got that, and I'll read it. So it's Beer Toker 420.
Oh yeah.
And my other friend's name was Cocaine Jones 69.
Oh, that's great.
And so that's all we did, and it was just stupid. And we just kept saying "bro" and "bra" every 5 or 6 words.
That's it
was amazing.
I used to do that with a buddy. Me and my buddy. Well, we didn't make those kinds of names. He made a guy. You said Cocaine Jones. He would make a guy Jones. That and this would be in the Ultima, so really shitty looking RPG. And for some reason, his name would be Silky Jones. He would always pick that name, and I would pick something like I don't know, Robeast or whatever from Voltron. You know, I would always go with like something. I wasn't that creative with names. I'm not a wordsmith, okay? All right, just not. So, and then it would always erupt. It would just always end up with us walking through town spouting nonsensical bullshit. You know, basically not playing the game.
You know what?
Yeah.
That all of that sounds as intellectual as when people found out that you could put a calculator upside down and spell boobs.
Exactly, and that's exactly the level that it was. Yeah, that's correct. That is accurate. What were we talking about? Xbox X.
Yeah, the new one, and how people were all weird and confused and butthurt about the pricing, which confused the shit out of me.
Oh, really? I didn't even. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, people are like, "What the fuck? Why does it cost so much?" And I think and someone can correct me if they know, but I think the PS Pro, I think, is 400, which is an entire 100 less, which is a thing. But from what I understand, the specs are way different. So,
all right. Well, I can just toss this out as an idea. Maybe some of these people could wait till Christmas or next year.
Stop.
Well, you can.
I mean,
gamers can't wait.
I mean, I know it's tough. Tough
right now.
No, it's impossible, Phil.
It will be. It will either be cheaper. It will either be cheaper or it'll be bundled with that sweet ass game that you wanted to get.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know that I can trust you.
He said something about waiting.
Yeah, waiting. I don't know what this means. We don't. Gamers don't wait for anything. Yeah, you give it to me now. I don't care if it's not finished. What in the fuck is this piece of shit you just gave me?
Next
also, I want to kill all of your family.
He's going to use the P word. Yeah. He's going to use the P word next.
Yeah.
Patience.
Patience.
I just noticed our icon is borked. Oh, that's weird. I'm going to have to look into that.
What icon?
On Twitch. The icon on Twitch is borked.
Oh, yeah, it looks like a little TV.
I'll have to fix that. Anyways, yeah, okay. Xbox, that was exciting, I suppose, for you?
I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. I mean, it looks really cool. I don't know yet if I see any necessity in having it, since I already have one. But I think for anybody who doesn't have an Xbox One that has ever been considering it, I think this news is exciting for them.
Yeah.
When did you buy your Xbox, Bram?
Fixed it.
That's a really good question. I got my Xbox One
1837.
No. I think I've had it for like 2.5 years. It's either 2.5 or 3.5. I don't remember. I didn't get one right away. I waited for I think at least a year or two, and then I got it on sale at like Christmas or something. I bought mine like for like $150 or something at most.
Well, the big thing is it's going to be liquid cooled.
I remember.
You waited. What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah. You know, that was my takeaway from that thing, is that it's going to be liquid cooled, you know? So that's going to be interesting. They say, you know, I remember them saying it's going to be a lot smaller too.
Yeah.
Although I didn't look at it visually.
Apparently.
Yeah. So it's going to be more powerful. It's going to be smaller, and it's going to be liquid cooled. The liquid cooling is a little worrisome in some aspects. I can see that going south in a few different ways, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that we have like a home appliance or electronic device, what you want to call it at this point, in mass production that's liquid cooled. You know, because computers are not necessarily that commonly liquid cooled.
They're not that commonly, but a lot of graphics card and motherboard producers are now actually selling with kits now. That's just like everything is
they've been doing that for some years, right? But that's what I'm saying. It's not like a TV.
That was only this year that they started.
No, I've bought computer parts, and you could buy like a liquid cooled card, or you could buy the whole kit with that and everything like that. That's been something that you've been doing for a while.
Yeah, but that was like a custom thing, wasn't it? Like,
sure.
But these aren't custom builds. These are like the actual like cards directly from the manufacturers. That's what I mean in terms of like it's being more generic now, like more user friendly for people to just set it up.
Right. Yeah, so this is going to be a gaming system. So then, but that's what I'm getting at is there's nothing really that's like commonly common. Gaming systems are pretty common now. I would say that I'd say that probably a lot. I would say most households probably have one, at least one. You know, it's hard to get away with not having one. Because even
zero.
You could go down to, well, you could even go down to same phones, you know, that's the whole thing. It's hard, you know, they're not necessarily, I'm thinking like gaming system in some way, but something to play video games on. So yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. I don't want to keep going on it because I don't really have too much on it, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be interesting. Anything else?
I guess we could talk about the Microsoft E3 stuff, the different games there.
Oh yeah, I've got a whole list of stuff that I have in no particular order.
There's a lot during that one that I really liked. I mean, I guess we could go with the big one. We could talk about Anthem.
Yeah, okay.
I just want to hold off on that one.
No, I don't care. I'm looking at on my list so I can like reorder it as we talk about it.
So Anthem.
Yeah, that's a big one.
From BioWare. I assume, because last week we talked about all the shit that went wrong with Andromeda. I am assuming, I don't actually know, obviously, that Anthem is Dylan. You guys think the same?
I don't know what you just said. Dylan?
Dylan. You know, that was the code name for the project that the other one that Casey Hudson was staying on, and that was like the divide between like resources.
I don't even know what you're saying to me. I feel like I don't even live in the world that you live in.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. Okay. Basically, they had Andromeda, and then when Andromeda was about to release, they were saying that they had another. People were saying that working on another big game that they're working on, which was a completely new IP, and it was just had code name Dylan.
Yeah.
Okay, right, because it's a BioWare project. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So I just assumed that this is that same project.
Gotcha.
But anyway, speaking from my perspective going through it, it looked really cool. The gameplay looks kind of neat. My initial like immersion breaking thing from it was all the weird gamer speak in game. That threw me for a loop. Like the first time that I said anything about like equipping, which is like much more minor, I was like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Use the term equip. And then they did like a few more like level up or big weapon or like they used weird terms that gamers use, but it totally like broke my immersion.
It sounded scripted.
Yeah, and it's very good that you used the word scripted, because when I was watching those combat scenes, 100% of the time, which is my like number one question whenever I watch trailers, is, oh, that looks like gameplay. And they might even say it's like gameplay, but how scripted is this event? Is it always exactly that every time I get to this spot, and the rest of it isn't? Like, how much of this is like the game, like on the fly deciding it? Like, do they say these comments whenever they do this attack?
Yeah.
Do they do this attack regularly?
Are we actually going to be able to do exactly what's being shown? That's the big thing.
And can I replicate that in a completely different environment, or is it literally just here? And that's always my skeptical look at like everything, trailer and whatever, especially because I, being someone who prefers the less linear, less heavily scripted formats, even though I think that there's a lot of strength in storytelling and gameplay that comes through scripting, I don't prefer it. And so for me, that's like a very thin line that I care a lot about. Like, how scripted is this? If it's super scripted, then it's really cool that one time I do it, and after that it's just like when you replay a checkpoint and you hear that dialogue over and over again, it becomes very stale and pointless to me really fast.
Yeah, see, I feel you're giving them way too much fucking credit, though. Like, to me, I looked at that. It looks gorgeous. Yeah, yes. the voice acting was hilariously scripted, and I would love to rewrite dialogue and do a video like how we would actually do it. You know, like, all right, let's bring in some more people, and then Kim and Sandra, I think, show up or whatever. I think that was the second person's name, and they're just like, "Hey, how's it going? Oh, ready to do stuff." And I'm like, that's not how it would be. It would be like, what's up, guys? Woo! Or, you know, just I wanted to just like, God damn it, come on. Yeah, exactly. Or just, you know, just some weird stuff like,
mic.
Okay. I'm gonna join. Oh, actually, guys, can you wait like 5 to 10 minutes while I go take care of this thing real quick with my dog? Okay, I'll be back. Oh, god damn it! You know that kind of. You know that's the reality of what gamers really do when they show up. You know, they're not like professionals. Like, all right, let's go ahead and get this done now. It's more like, hey, what's going on? Oh, did you get that new thing? Or somebody just talking randomly about something that no one is like. What are you talking about? What do you?
You know what would have been awesome is if they had one of those people that joined the game come in with their mic slightly distorted and an
Yes.
echo. Oh, dude,
Exactly.
no. Fix your mic, man. Come on.
Absolutely. Because they're all
Even that would be
perfect.
scripted, that would have been funny. It would have thrown you for a little loop, and you'd be like, "That's what happens."
Yeah.
And gamers would be like, "Yeah."
Or the other thing is, they land and then they're just perfectly going in a team running for it. No. Where's Volt spinning his character around so fast that it's just a blur? Where's that? Where's the Janzer who's shooting at the ground or at objects in the distance just to see if they break or explode? You know, where's
leaves and
they
fall off the branches when I shoot them and
or rolling around if you have the ability to roll, or hitting the jump jet 50 times just to start off the ground just a little bit each time, just just a little bit.
And then Phil just standing over to the side like, all right, we can start this or not?
Yeah. Phil thinking, the odds of us succeeding, slim to none. I'm doing this anyways because I have no other choice. All right.
Yep.
Yeah. What do you guys think about what little we know about they're freelancers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you guys think about that?
Well, to be fair, let's because we're just talking shit as if people saw that.
Of course.
If you didn't see it, go look at that and do it now because this is audio, so you could just go, even if you're in chat right now and haven't seen it, go look up Anthem, Anthem. That's ANN as in Nancy, and M on the end is Mancy. So go look it up. People have been describing it as a crossbreed of like the Division and Halo and Destiny meets, you know, like Mass Effect multiplayer and, you know, just anything you can think third person / sci-fi.
If it's third person, if it has suits, if there's firearms, and if there's a screen, then it's that game.
Yeah, you wear like exosuits. What's that?
I think that people are reading way too much into that.
I still want to describe it real quick before we get into that. So you wear like Iron Man looking suits is what it is. You step in to them and a HUD comes up and you're it's a third person though, which is great because I like seeing my characters. No offense, Destiny, but you kind of fucked up. I mean, not really. But I like seeing my characters, you know. But yeah, so that's the description. Also, there is not jump jets, but you literally can fly like fucking Iron Man in this, you know. And you get different types of weaponry and different types of like, I guess exosuits is what I'm going to call them. Like there's a heavier type, kind of traditional. They had the standard, a heavier type, and I think a lighter type as well. So that's the basics for the idea. And what they showed in the trailer was like a jungle type atmosphere, and the initial trailer portion of it getting to that where they referred to the main character that was being talked to as a freelancer looked kind of like a bazaar. Like there was like a lot of people standing around, kind of looked like a market, an old market in like Egypt or something like that, way back in the something like that. So that's the setting. All right. Now,
or like how the last Star Wars movie was, when they're on that sand planet and all the people, you know, with these things covering their face and that kind of that whole futuristic dust planet look.
Watusi said sounds like Firefall. I'm like, Firefly? But he's right. Firefall had the exact same thing. It just looked different. The people were very tiny, I think. Actually, they weren't very tiny. They just looked different. You were in exosuits and you had different exosuit sizes and all that too, and you could fly around. You literally could, and there was a jungle.
It's very much true. There's jungle, there's a beach area with water and stuff that you could go out to. It was an interesting game, but my issue again is that with that and a lot of stuff that I saw at B3 was a lot of scripted.
E3 or B3?
Sorry. With E3.
It's B as in Bancy. Sorry. Go ahead.
You know my problem with B3? But with a lot of those things were that there were a lot of scripted videos.
Oh, yeah.
All right, this is going to be... It's like, you know what? This is not what it's gonna look like when it's in the
Exactly.
actual game.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like you're prejudging something that you don't actually see. So even like the flying going into the water looked like it was, as I heard it described, looked like it was on rails.
It looked
like, you know,
so
like,
good that you know it's
yeah,
fake.
it was because
Girl, that shit's
played
airbrushed.
numerous
You know
games
it
where you
is.
can fly. Yep, I played numerous games where you can fly, and it never moves as smooth as that.
No.
You can probably get it smooth if you're using like a controller, because you know controllers get that little slight increment of movements. It might move a little smoother, but if you're using like a keyboard and a mouse, it doesn't. Nobody turns that smoothly and that precision, and they come up out of the water and splash. You know, I felt like if I was watching like a Bond girl come out of the water in a mech suit kind of thing. You know,
Yeah.
I was like, this is just
and the difference
is too perfect.
There's scripted in-game events in video games all the time, whereas like, okay, on beat number 6, the minions are going to come out. On beat 8, the big boss is going to come out. That's different from like literally, like I watched so much of this stuff of the different like Microsoft and all of them, whatever. And I was like, can I just watch a movie of this? I don't even want to play the game. I just want to watch a movie of this beautifully scripted thing. You know? Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I just like games like listen that, and you know we can talk about it later too. Beyond Good and Evil, that was just you know what, cinematics.
It looked
So
like a great
like,
animated movie.
I'm like, and where's the game?
And you know what's really
That's my
interesting is I love that you're bringing this up, Phil, because I feel like maybe, and I don't even think that I call myself old at all, but I think we have that older gamer perspective where we always check everything with some degree of realism. And E3 is all about teaser, imagination, and hype.
Yep.
And so all of it is intentionally doing this, which is hilarious because later on when it's not like that, we're like, yeah, it was still a pretty cool game. And everybody else is like, it was full of lies and horseshit. Let's bomb threat everyone.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think E3 is like, in a way, going to a strip club. It's never as good as what you think it is because you're probably drunk, you know, and they're getting you drunk. And the lighting is to their, like, you know, they've got everything going on there to make it look like this is the most beautiful goddess or whatever. But then when and second of all, nothing's ever really going to happen. And if it does happen with one of those strippers, guess what? It's probably not as good as you thought, number one, and it might be deadly. So
I don't know who you are, buddy, but you're about to get chlamydia.
Right, exactly. So with the games, it's the same way. It's like once you get the game, it's like, wait a second, this actually wasn't as great as I thought it was. Why did I do this? I just lost a lot of money. Yeah. So yeah.
Which is why I like some of the smaller titles, because with the smaller titles
the
that
indie
are
titles.
V3, they have to show their product. They can't just say, "Oh, look at this cool cinematic." People are like, "So where the fuck is the game?" You know, people are not going to just accept that.
Because it doesn't
you know,
have a big name behind it.
Yeah, Sony, Microsoft, BioWare, Bethesda, they could do all that kind of shit and get away with it. But that's why I like to see some of these smaller or lesser known games, because they might be like AAA type title games. But when you see the actual game, they show you the gameplay and you're like, this game looks cool. And that's the sort of stuff that I just want to see across the board.
Yeah. I think that, oh gosh, you had said something and I forgot what it was because I was typing shit out for thanks.
AAA, smaller indie
games. Right. They have to show you. Here's another thing. They don't have marketing budget to fuck around. They don't have the resources to create those, because you got to take the part of your team that's there in production and say, I need you to make this trailer. That means animation. Now we need to go and take these assets that we have and make them do something that we didn't intend for the game specifically. And it's going to have to look amazing. So, you know, that's an entire project in and of itself. And that's a part of the game that probably isn't going to be the final game anyway, because that's a slice of the game that they have to use. That's different from what they're still working on. So that's why shit is always different, you know? Like that UI for Anthem was not amazing. I mean, it looked really simple, and that was all. And I'm guaranteed that's probably not going to be the final UI, you know? So
the game isn't even done yet. So
yeah, there you go.
I'm sure they're going to make
2018, right?
Between now and whenever. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, what did I didn't put dates for any of this shit. I'm trying to go off of memory because I hate my life. Game 2018. Because for some reason I'm like, I'll remember. No, I won't. I never remember. But
I just love that phrase.
I force myself to try. I think
hate life,
fall of 2018. Fall of 2018. That's what it says. So we're talking about a whole, like, more than a year away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see how that ends up coming out.
Yeah. And to be honest, like, if the game is actually a year away, I want to see gameplay. Because if you only got a year left, you have to have something there that's concrete, because there's no turning back at that point.
At this point, so, they are, absolutely. So they've got alpha,
my whole thing
for
is,
sure.
Where is the gameplay?
Yeah. Yeah. But E3's not about that, you know. And
just imagine. Think of all the things that you think you could maybe do that we are saying you may or may not.
Yeah.
But think about it.
Think about it.
Get really excited.
I just said, if
write
I
a fanfic about it, and then when it's not a thing, cry about it and write a fan hate mail on a forum.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that you can go down the street in Mardi Gras, throw some cheap beads, and you can see titties.
That's true. That's a true fact. You don't even have to do it. You could just be in the crowd
with E3,
and
you
looking.
Go there, you pay, and all they can show you is a bunch of these cinematic shit. Nah, show me the titties. That's what I want.
Right.
Show me the titties, E3.
Oh yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Like poetry.
But yeah, it looked pretty. I could say that.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a very pretty cinematic.
Speaking of also pretty and of that same thing, Ori.
Oh god,
amazing!
Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I believe.
I will say that I am not like. There's somebody who's more polar opposite of Janzer in terms of graphical things than me, but I'm pretty far. Like, I usually don't care that much.
I don't actually know anybody that's further off than how you. There might be, but I don't know anybody personally.
Sure there always is. Yeah. There's literally only two people in the world that can be on the farthest side of the extreme. So usually it's somebody. But that game looked fucking amazing. It looks so gorgeous.
See, what I refer to it as is that's visual porn. That's just like, okay, you're just trying to make me come, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
You dirty girl.
The problem is that you're gonna come while crying. Because that game
like,
looks so sad.
Some people can only do that.
Other games that would try to do that same sort of. I always defined it as indie artsy look, like as a derogatory term, like Limbo and whatever. I've never been impressed.
Oh, Limbo, yeah.
Okay. And I also, I'm also weird, and I don't really like 2D games as much. I can enjoy them. I grew up with them, but I don't prefer them.
Well, like Hollow Knight, for example,
cool as fuck, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's like they said. You remember Ori and the Blind Forest? How it had so many layers of depth. What if we just go and say, "Fuck it, let's go, let's do more." It's so lush, and there's so many layers of like items going on there. It's ridiculous.
Remember how you had to drink like 2 glasses of water after each time you did gameplay because you cried so much? Guess what?
You were on that. I never played the game, so I don't even know what it's about.
I never played. Listen, you don't have to watch the intro.
I haven't even seen that.
Just watch the intro, and you're gonna immediately be sad.
I don't know.
Like I've only seen still shots of this or video of it, but never like.
Just go on YouTube and look at it. And that trailer with Ori coming up, you know, like consoling the owl there. I was like, oh Jesus Christ!
Oh, at the end, yeah.
I was like, fuck that.
I don't know.
That's turned some Dark Souls shit there.
A lot of times, I'm pretty far removed sometimes from things.
Yeah.
I've played some
you have no soul, no
games.
heart, man. Come on.
Yeah. Graham is.
Graham.
I can very remove myself from.
Yeah. That's
this
where.
This is so sad. Oh my god! I'm like, hey, look, they're talking about shit.
I can do that, but then I allow myself a lot of the time to not. So I can, but then again, that might be part of me that I like to get into the character. Not necessarily I'm going to be wearing hats, hody, or anything like that. I'm just saying I like to get into the mindset of the character. Like, I think I mentioned that for like Life is Strange, how that game doesn't appeal, or it's not intended to appeal to my, whatever you look at me and you put the stats on the sheet. I shouldn't be the person that really likes that game. But I'm like, I love that game. It's amazing. And I'm like, think in the mind of a dense child girl that is becoming a woman. I can totally do this. I know this. Yeah. Well, she's pretty
yeah,
dense
and I'm
child
similar.
girl.
Yeah,
I'm
because she's a
similar
child
in
woman.
That I feel the feels on a slower burn, where
Yeah.
it really builds, and I end up being pulled into it. But like little cutesy things or like whatever, like they've never really worked for me.
Yeah.
It's just never been a thing. So
Well,
Yeah.
I think a lot of it comes together.
I understand this. This is trying to draw this emotion from people.
Well,
I am not feeling this emotion.
This is what I say whenever people watch these things: is they should never turn music or volume on, because you should never turn your volume on, because for a lot of people, audio really is going to affect them greatly. For me, it massively affects me. And shit, we've been making music for time out of mind as human beings. We know how to get this shit right. You know, when they want to turn a screw on you, they'll do it. So watch,
man, pretty much. Playing drums or sticks or anything, you know.
So before you make that purchase, watch it without any audio. I know it sounds crazy because it is, right?
That goes for everything, by the way.
But that helps to get you in a mind frame of being a bit more objective and taking your emotion out of it, because it is a video game, but you don't want to be salty about how much it sucks just because the trailer was great and it made you cry. Or whatever, you know. Oh, I remember I'm human because tears are coming out of my eyeballs. Yeah, there you go. So
there's a reason why you give awards for, you know, sound engineering and stuff at Grammys and stuff like that. They know how to project certain sounds, elements.
Oh yeah,
that will just either pluck at your heartstrings or make you say, "Fart."
Yep.
You know, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and you know, guys, if you really want lube, there's easier ways. You don't have to get all those tears.
Oh, well, you don't have to, but it's more fun.
Yeah. Okay. But moving along,
taste extra salty afterwards.
Graham was saying he's not into like these side-scrolling games, but that Project Code Shift game.
Oh yeah,
I didn't even see.
There was a couple of those. There's quite a few.
We're gonna have to.
A lot of them looked really cool.
Project Code Shift. Yeah. We're gonna have to come back because we mentioned. I was hoping to like talk about it before we leave, but there is going to be a prequel and a sequel to Life is Strange. That's all. Okay. Project Code Shift.
Perfect.
I watched that.
All I can say on this is that, you know, it was one of those things I'm like, yeah, this looks pretty neat, but it didn't impress me the same way that Ori did. It's sort of like
Ori's
2D
like
scrolling hack and slash. Like I played the closest game that I ever really enjoyed that was similar to a lot of these was like Dust and Elysian Tale. But there was a lot of like storytelling and like almost RPG aspects to it, which helped pull me in.
For people in chat, I put the link so you can check it out. But Ori is intended to do one thing, and it does it well. It's visually trying to appeal to your senses, and it's doing it amazingly. But what I remember about Ori and the Blind Forest specifically was the mechanics were not that great from what people have said. So Project Code Shift, I don't know, Phil, what do you think? It's probably going to be more mechanics-based, right? I mean,
it looks like there's going to be a lot more...
You got air combos, man!
Yeah.
Damn right it's going to be combo-based. I mean, like, mechanics-based. It's beautiful with air... You got...
I also like the art style, though. It's really cool.
It's really nice. I agree, totally. Yep. It's got because it's 2D, number one. So let's describe. We're not doing a good job of describing these things. You're kind of like a ninja, from what I can tell. You have a samurai, but I also saw some with like you have a spear at one point. It is a 3D rendered game from what I can see. I'm watching the animations now. It looks like a 3D rendered game, but it's in a 2D style. It has multiple layers, so it's similar to Ori or whatever. It's very dark. It's got a lot of purples and like some pink or whatever, but it's a very dark-based game, and you fight like a bunch of enemies on screen at once from what I can see. And there's a lot of verticality and horizontal verticality as well as you continue these combos.
There's also like some grappling as well too, because you see him grab like this big guy and then just drag him across and then throw him down on the ground. Kind of.
Yeah. It's not exactly cel shaded, but it is more of a like a drawn style look.
Yes.
More flat.
I also love the parts too where it just goes into like silhouettes fighting.
Yeah, there's silhouettes.
Look at that, and thinking, man, this is like kind of like Japan anime kind of game, but it's not. Doesn't really.
Oh, it's
like
weeb as fuck.
It definitely has a lot of those sort of visual themes. Like, even in the background in some different scenes that I saw.
Yeah.
My only issue is that I see a little bit of platforming in it, and I'm like, fuck, I suck at that.
Yeah, that's my life.
So definitely that kind of like game. So Mark of the Ninja kind of comes to mind, but this has a lot more mechanics when it comes to the fighting from what I can see. A lot more mechanics.
And I think it's really cool to note that a lot of that, the platforming thing that Phil mentioned, has some connection to also your combat actions. Like you appear to create floors or like platforms, which is a really cool like gameplay mechanic. You could do a lot with that if you get real creative, which is neat.
That's one of the games that's on my list as like I was excited about, or in the Will of the Wisps I'm excited about. Anthem I'm excited about. Yeah, definitely. Yep. So for that one specifically, visuals and combat mechanics. I don't give a shit about story. So.
Right, so they got one that I want to ask about that I know is on your list. And it was Days Gone. What did y'all think about that?
Oh, man.
Days Gone. I have that here.
That's a PS4 exclusive zombie open world game. You play like a biker dude, PC. Which my very first initial glances, like every first like 5 seconds I'm looking at the game, I think, what's his face from The Walking Dead, the biker dude. Every time. That's immediately the like connection I make.
Norman Reedus, or what his name is?
I don't remember his name.
Well, that's my name in the show. That's his real life name, Norman.
Yeah, I don't remember actor's name. It's not cool like that.
It's not, yeah.
But yeah, exactly. That's what I thought every time. But I think the game looks pretty cool. I'm not really like a big zombie person in general.
Yeah,
I like post-apocalyptic, but it's more for like the dystopian aspects more than it is like zombies and mutants and stuff like that. Less horror.
My problem anytime I see a biker game like character is I think of Ride to Hell. Which is a horrible game. Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of gameplay things and visual things and a lot of things around that game that are really impressive. And I think it is impressive in its very similar caliber to a lot of the things that people praised, like Naughty Dog's The Last of Us. But I think they're going to be very different experiences. Yeah. Because this one is much more open world as opposed to like story scripted telling. But there's a lot of stealth elements. It's obviously like a lot of human elements that are dangerous as well. I really liked the options like of scenarios and some of the RNG types of things that you come across. I watched some gameplay of it. It looks really impressive.
Yeah,
even though it's not something that if I read a paragraph about, I would be interested in after watching and like hearing about it. You know, it's definitely got me intrigued, and I have the platform to play it.
Yeah. To me, it looks like The Last of Us with zombies and bikers. I mean, and that's not bad. I like the mechanics of The Last of Us.
That's sort
way
of
more
like
polished.
That's what you think of. Yeah.
And Naughty Dog. I mean, they're going to do a good job. They are.
The one thing that I didn't like, though, again, was because what they showed looked very scripted with just quick time events. Now, I know the game should have more than just that, but I kind of wish that they would stop showing specific, like, scripted quick time things. I know you got a particular agenda. You want to show these elements in the game, but like a little bit of the open world atmosphere. Would have been kind of cool to see maybe the game out there and you had to shoot a deer or grab something and then, you know, shots fired off from somebody that was nearby and the zombies came running in, or, you know, make it a little bit more random.
So it is going to be open world?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
That was something they were talking about a lot with it. And so they were talking about, like, the video that I watched, the gameplay, they showed, like, multiple perspectives on the same location / scenario.
Oh, okay.
So, like, you could see literally, like, from 2 different seasons and, like, time of days, like, how things looked. And you could see which, like, parts were obviously scripted, like, walk through all these hanging bodies, and the last thing was alive, and then he stabbed it in the exact same way. Cinematic type thing. But then, like, in the next area, they showed different things. So, like, oh, here's how sound plays a huge part into this. I tripped something, and they came over here, so I had to go around, and then I stealth killed that guy, and then I put a bear trap over here, and I threw a rock over there. They went to investigate, and he stepped into it, and then everybody else went to it, and then I ran away. So, like, you got scripted things like that, and then they're talking about the 2 guys with, like, the clothesline rope, and those sort of, like, RNG things, which, from my experience in games, there's, like, a preset number of them, and they're the same, so they're not truly unique. They are semi-created already, so they're predictable once you get exposed to them. But I thought that was kind of interesting with those, that, you know, you could not pay attention and get hit by that and it could fuck you up. Or you could notice it and then go around and completely ruin it.
Yeah, I think a game that I remember playing, GTA 4, did it really well, where you had an open world, but then you had scripted events. So that's what that's going to be like, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and, like, different open, like, a lot of people really like Fallout 3, and I played a fuck ton of Fallout 3. There's certain things that are predictable because they're always there. Even though they're part of some, like, random world algorithm, you start noticing the patterns, like the limitations of that. And you're like, okay, I recognize this thing. This is like a random world event, but they happen in specific spots. So you know what to expect.
Yeah, that's like an MMO.
Like yeah. So there's always limitations and whatever, but
it should be good.
Yeah. I think any game that has a good or usable stealth feature and good, like, stealth mechanics usually adds a lot of variety of gameplay in a lot of these action games. So
yeah, the Horde,
it seems like it works pretty well.
The Horde running and all that really kind of opened up, like, some kind of excitement. Because up until then, I was like, this could be literally any kind of, like, game I don't care about. But the element of, like, randomness or what's going to, like, you know, the AI is the AI and they're fine. But, yeah, like, you know, Phil said, a lot of it was just too scripted for me to care too much about. And I was like, oh, okay, here's something that might be different. And the Horde was running off. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. That's neat to see.
Yeah, and one of the things I thought was interesting is, and I don't know the actual reality of the situation, but they talked about how with the Pro and whatever, all the fancy maxed out stuff, that they were able to get, I think they said 1,000 active, they called them freakers or whatever they call their zombies.
Damn Zambos.
Yeah. And then they were talking about how there's hordes, which are like the massive ones, and there's swarms, which are smaller ones. So I feel like the hordes are going to be a lot more limitations, but the swarms might be a little bit more
a group of 10 or usable 15
tools, things that you can use, or they could be something that could also be very challenging against you. But I think there's going to be a lot of intentional spots probably where you can utilize swarms to do a lot of stuff for you. Very similar to, like, the way Far Cry 3 and whatever will have, like, animals in a cage in, like, a base, and if you find it, then you can break the cage, and then the game fights itself.
Yeah, well, they did it in the trailer too. You know, they used the Horde to your advantage.
They blew up that barrier to the fort, and then they ran in.
Yep.
So but I mean, these are all things which are really interesting because there's a lot of emphasis on it, and it's really all stuff that you've kind of seen before. It's just a brand new face.
So,
but looks neat. I mean, Yeah, looks pretty good.
Multiplayer, I don't know that there's going to be any multiplayer. I can't recall them saying anything like that. And
Last
because
of
it's
Us
a
has
PS4
multiplayer,
exclusive,
and nobody
I don't
talks
really
about
care
it
anyway.
because who cares?
Yeah, it's just, I remember Last of Us having multiplayer, and I remember people actually liking it.
Yeah.
And I watched gameplay of it, and it looked competently good. So I was like, that looks like it would be fun to play. But, yeah, I'm just curious because it's the same company developing, so I could see some potential there for multiplayer. So,
It's
yeah, I just, PS4 exclusive. What am I gonna do? I can't even play Last of Us, so I probably gotta wait 4 more years for Last of Us to come to PC, maybe if I'm lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
I honestly doubt that's gonna kind of.
Yeah, I know,
like
but I gotta keep going back.
Come on, this is E3. Let your dreams be memes.
It's not even that. I just got to look at the things that just came to PC that were never going to come to PC because they were exclusives. Bayonetta, Vanquish.
Yeah.
Vanquish was like, oh, that's absolutely never going to happen. Well, these are older games. Destiny 2. Yes, but Destiny, I don't know if Destiny is going to ever make a PC port.
That's true. And then there's the opposite. There's Demon Souls.
Things
Souls, like that.
Yeah, I don't.
Which have never left.
Right. Do you have more on that? Because I can transition here to another one. Speaking of Demon Souls.
Transition away, I got nothing.
Okay. Speaking of that, unless, Phil, you have something to say about Days Gone as well.
No, I said my piece.
Okay, but speaking of like Demon Souls and FromSoft, so apparently it leaked out there that FromSoft's next Souls-like is going to be like an Aztec Mayan kind of feel or whatever. That's all I actually have on it. I tried to look up some, chase down some imagery.
Apparently, a notorious 4chaner who's had a good reputation for
that's what I read.
Reporting accurate stuff.
I just don't want to repeat
E3 things specifically is the one that found it, and I think they said Phantom Whale, but a lot of the descriptions that he noted looks like some other game. I don't remember, but some other sort of martial arts based combat that's an indie title that exists,
and that's why I kept it pretty vague.
Who knows?
Yeah,
so who knows?
Well, anyways, like I said, so
Aztec
that's
setting is
the
cool,
idea that they're going to make
that
FromSoft specifically is going to make a Souls type game with that different setting.
I think they should have at E3 revealed a Enchanted Arms game. That's what they should have done.
Enchanted Arms. Wow, I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, okay.
Can you imagine an excited young boy who could be like one of the people that are watching?
Yeah, I don't know that.
Or anxiously confused
It's
woman.
like 6 people that would be like, Pizza Golem, woo! That's
Inside references.
It took me a minute to like, what are you talking about? Because I have like 2 things I was tying together. There's that, and then of course they showed some more of Code Vein, which is the other non-FromSoft but Souls-like. It's really just vampire. Japanese weeby type game,
Souls-like at all when I watched.
It's not about the look; it's about
the
function,
anything.
the function of it. So
the gameplay mechanics or
the
format or whatever.
I think that's really
it literally looks nothing like any Souls game to me at all whatsoever.
Which is great because Bloodborne doesn't. Well, Bloodborne kind of
Bloodborne would be the closest thing that I could equate it to, and
could look like Souls is what I'm saying. But the art direction is different, correct? And you can absolutely tell just by looking at Code Vein that it is a Japanese-based game because they never make Japanese-looking players. They're all these like perfect European-looking characters, and it's just the weirdest thing in the world. It's like, what is this character? These people don't exist, and that's the kind of funny thing, But the gameplay looked like Weeb. So if you're into vampires and Japanese and all that, then that should be great. I would definitely be checking on it. Both of those games, whatever FromSoft's actually working on, But if it's Aztec related, that'd be amazing because there's really nothing that does that. I think Killer Instinct has like one dude in it, or Mortal Kombat I think has like one guy that's like Aztec related or whatever.
Yeah, those are stage fighter games, so they don't count to me.
Yeah, well, they have a story behind it too, so it's kind of neat. And also, it looks really good too, the game. But anyways, yeah, that's what I had for those.
Yeah, Code Vein is definitely not a game for me, but I can admire the aesthetics of the game, and I'm sure that it's going to be, well, I'm not sure, but if it's done in that Dark Soulsy type feel, it'll sell.
There were other games that I thought looked neat, but didn't necessarily appeal to me. Also, with the Xbox One, like Dragon Ball Z fighting game.
Oh my god!
You know what?
The Cuphead game, The Last Night.
Okay, yeah, we're not skipping over all this stuff, but those are not that interesting to you. Got it.
Yes. The only thing I have specifically to note on that, because I don't have much to talk about, so you guys probably will, is I thought what was really cool about the Dragon Ball fighting game is every once in a while when they did like the combo animations, it went from more 2D to very clearly 3D, more cinematic. I thought that looked really fucking sweet.
Yeah, it is 2D for sure, though, by the way.
Oh, yeah. It looks old school, like classic stage fighter.
That's cool, but when I think, well, again, I only watch so much Dragon Ball Z. I kind of would hope, I wish that somebody would take a 2D fighting game and make it kind of partially 3D.
They have, dude.
Yeah, but I mean,
in fact, the company that you're talking about, the developer Arc System Works, they do. They are the best when it comes to this 2D/3D look. It's just that Dragon Ball, they pulled it back a bit to make it a little bit more 2D. But they do like Blaze Blue. Go look up Blaze Blue, and they do the other one that is.
Don't you think that Dragon Ball Z would be the perfect game to do a 3D?
No, because they fucked up 3D with Dragon Ball so many times. No one wants that in the fighting game world. No one that's a fan. I'm sorry. This is like one of the things that I'm like, oh, no, you know. I'm like, when I saw this, I was like, what the fuck? They got it right. They did it. They did it, boys. They finally fucking did it. It's that good to people that like actually care, you know.
I'm the minority because I'm
Guilty Gear is the other one.
You guys,
spectacle fighting games with just side scrolling. I don't know. That just like I'm over that.
Stage
I know
fighting.
that there's a big, stage fight. I know there are tons of people that are big on that. I mean, what was it that just came out too recently? They had the Mortal Kombat X, Tekken. Like it still has a very strong base. Oh, I'm thinking too.
Absolutely.
The DC one, Justice.
Marvel? Capcom?
No, DC.
Oh, Injustice.
Injustice. I wouldn't.
That's a massive hit. Yeah. This is not in your world, but because I follow this stuff. Oh God, this stuff is great right now. I mean, there are fails like Street Fighter V just did not do well at all. Yeah,
I know about this stuff, and I know that there's a huge following, and people take that stuff very seriously. I just think that they should try to broaden it a bit more, or try something different. But
I feel
there are so many fighters out there
they can get
that you just don't know, and I think that's what it is. But there are so many fighters out there, like things I've never heard of. Yeah,
don't get twisted. I know, and I've heard of numerous different little ones that aren't as popular, like all the way down to like Skullgirls and Up and Down or whatever. I hear about all of them, but I just like, I don't know, it don't appeal to me. So it's just not my thing. So
maybe you just don't like fighting games. Yeah. I'm sorry. Where were you going with this?
No,
it's kind of like pulling away from like Dragon Ball.
No, my whole thing with it was that I just kind of would love to see one that has a more of kind of a 3D element. But I know that people don't want that.
Well, yeah, remember? Don't you remember that MMO that came out? Like, in fact, a bunch of the Warframers.
That one wasn't really. That's not really what I'm thinking about.
Okay,
that one was different. And
that's
that one
literally 3D.
Right. Yeah, but that was no. But difference is that's 3D third-person perspective.
Yeah, there are 3D. There are Dragon Ball 3D fighters that came out in the past, and they sucked, or they were to different. Shit, I'd have to look them up. I could look them up right now, but I remember playing some of them back in the day, and they had variable levels of success. But usually, it's just that they never got the look right, or if they got the look right, the mechanics were not very good, you know? And when it comes to fighting games, a lot of the time, like having a truly like 3-dimensional fighting arena is not as great as it might seem it would be, you know?
I just think
it pulls away from the actual fighting, you know, some of the time.
That's what I would have assumed too, is because you're cluttering up the tightness of the combos and whatever because you have this extra area and space to float around.
Well, it literally is putting another level of difficulty that just raises the bar for people.
What you need to look at too is that what I'm probably talking about trying to come up with and create is something that is like probably going to be a different genre of game. Okay. It's not going to be stage fighting game.
Let's get back to Dragon Ball before we shit on like all of like real big downer. Like
first, I'm not shitting on it. It looks cool.
Okay,
it's gonna be perfect for stage fighting people, especially and people that love Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I didn't even get to really talk about it. Yeah,
it looked exactly like what I would expect that version of that game to be.
Yeah,
to hear that they had shittier versions, I'm like, wow, they didn't get that right. I mean, like this looks like the exact formula that they should have used. So obviously somebody just fucked it up.
Yes, it's sad.
Yeah.
They've literally gotten it wrong so many times. It's the dumbest and worst thing. So that's why I said people that have like wanted this to happen. I'm talking since back in the 90s, you know, like since whenever, you know, fighting games and Dragon Ball was ever an idea in anyone's head, it's like to actually get it right from a developer that knows how to do this art style and this type of 2D side fighting, everything just perfectly aligned for them to actually get it right and it looks really good is like, oh my god, it's going to blow Marvel versus Capcom out of the water, especially since you don't have licensing for some of the X-Men anymore anyways, because Fox doesn't, you know, they're not going to give them the licensing to use like, the characters.
They had a Marvel versus Capcom at E3 as well too, right? Like a new one that they announced or something.
Yeah.
That looked so bad. Sorry.
Yeah.
Chun-Li got fucked up in that. I'm just saying.
Yeah. It's yeah. So no, this is like, you have to think of a genre of something that you really follow and enjoy, and they just never did it right. Like, they never converted it over to a thing that you wanted. Let's say a video game that never got converted over to a TV series or a movie, or a book that never got a TV series or a movie, you know, and they just always got, like, Stephen King is a good example of that. He's a very prolific writer. They don't always get his stuff right when it comes to visual stuff, like, you know, visual format, TV series, movies, stuff like that. Like even that last one that he had, that they're remaking again into like, I think a series, The Mist. That movie was a very hit and miss. Some people liked it, some people didn't like it, some people thought it was a little too cheap, like production wise and whatever. So when something actually clicks, it's like, okay, you did it. You did it. Now you're asking for like, well, I wish that, but people were just like, we made cheddar cheese finally. It's amazing. You know, we've only ever heard of this. Oh, you know, so that's
should have made cheddar cheese a long time ago.
Right, exactly. But given the level of lack of competency, clearly that's happened. Now it's like, yeah. So before they even get to whatever other thing, it's just like, wow, this is like Count brought up a good point. Well, I was watching him play, I think earlier today, and he said, why aren't there any like, you know, like submarine type video games out there? I was like, well, there's like one, but it's like a 2D one where you're in a group of like 4 or 5 people, and it's very cartoonish looking. It's really neat. I think it's something like We Must Go Deeper or something like that. That's not a porn name, and it might be also a porn name, but it's a video game. It's either We Must Go Deeper or something like that, but it's like a real kind of like Yellow Submarine, like Beatles type of like look to the animated graphics and all that. Right. But there's no like technical submarine kind of game, you know? And I was like, that's true. That would be kind of neat. So, yeah, outside of like something new with fighting games, there's just
a porno called We Go Deep.
Oh, there you go.
And
See? Of course there is.
I seen a cover for 2, a cover for 4, and for 6.
Oh, see, 2 they missed out with Deeper, and then Deepest, and then
and Deeperester.
Yeah, and then
the last one, we must go to the abyss, the final movie.
Right,
That's
exactly.
No coming back from there.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's true.
Yeah,
it's true. But yeah, they just got it right is all it is, They just finally got it right. It's like if they keep making bad Superman movies, which they have been, and then a good one comes out and they're like, "You did it! You finally did it again!" Like, I think people like or they don't like Christopher Reeve, but I think there's some nostalgia with Christopher Reeve definitely being Superman. So it's just one of those things.
Yeah, that's one of those things too. I think is another rose-tinted glasses thing. Because
sure,
look back at those Superman movies and they were cheesy as fuck.
Oh yeah, of course. But I think that at the time there was something about that, like times call for different things, and that was a hero of that level of like we needed that Boy Scout, in a way. Like now, especially, there are no heroes. All of the human heroes that we have turn out to be pieces of garbage. Not all of them, but a lot of them, So it becomes that kind of thing. That's a whole nother discussion. I don't even want to get into any of that. But Dragon Ball Fighter Z. So yeah, I just wanted to fanboy out on it.
I would just say check out some gameplay of it.
Oh yeah.
Because I looked at it and I was like, wow, this looks really good.
Dude, they knock. Okay, so in the animations, like in the series, when they'll toss aside, like let's say somebody shoots like a fireball at somebody, whatever, right? Come out, whatever. They'll knock it away, and then it blows up in the distance. It happens in the fucking video game too. It's so good. Yeah. They just got it right. It's like if somebody tried to do Snoopy again, the Peanuts or whatever, whatever they call it, or something classic, and they try to do it again, but like in a video game, and they just kept getting it wrong. Like with Sonic, they keep getting Sonic wrong.
One thing that I saw in that same fighting trailer for it too that I liked is like when one as 3 people you play as, one person got defeated, next one runs in, it's like ping,
yes,
you just beat my brother, kind of thing,
Oh yeah,
they block arms and then they flip back and look at each other, and you're back to fighting again. It's like that's a cool way to bring in
feels characters
like, as opposed to they just jump into the screen.
It feels like the anime. They got it. They just did the right thing. They did it. I'm sorry. So that's going to be neat for people that are like big fans of that stuff or really like fighting games, because the underworks of it is DSP Arc Systems knows what the fuck they're doing. They also worked, I think, on the last 1 or 2 seasons of Killer Instinct as well. So they know what the hell they're doing when it comes to that genre. But that's a 3D fighter, by the way. So it doesn't have 3-dimensional that you can move in. Tekken does that, by the way. Tekken 7. I think there's more that you can move in. And that old game, Soul Calibur, also allowed you to move 3-dimensionally within the arena. I don't know if you remember playing that, but that was a hilarious one.
It was a kind of a slight. You had like a slight dodge mechanic where you could sidestep.
Mm-hmm.
So it just kind of turn slightly. Yeah.
Yep. You were always in line with your character that you were fighting, but there were other 3D fighters that you could run around the ring and like an idiot not be able to hit your target because you don't know how to line up. That kind of. I can't remember them now, but man, I remember them visually in my head. I just don't remember the names of them. But yeah, I played so many fighting games back in the day. But okay, yes. That's fighting game. You also mentioned Cuphead. I think they said that
is really cool.
Yeah, they said it's actually going to come out in the fall of this year. Finally,
nice.
Yeah.
I think anybody who's not sure about that, just to like do a very, 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 very simplistic explanation. 1920s like Mickey Mouse, like Disney, but way fucked up.
Well,
yeah, the visuals for it
is that really Mickey Mouse? Wasn't that like before the concepts that Mickey
Disney,
Mouse
but
came from?
People will associate it to like Mickey Mouse and the fucking
but yeah,
whatever.
It's like really early cartoon animation. Yeah,
way simplified, but
so
people can get
that was out before Disney. Yeah, that's what Disney kind of came from. But I think that animation
people are
style
gonna
was
use
out
modern
before we
labels
came in.
incorrectly. I'm just trying to make it like just bring it to their mind. Phil.
Well, I guess to be to what he's looking for, Steamboat Willie is what
that's the one. Thank you.
Mickey Mouse was referred to.
That's the one.
Yeah, and so it's that like era of or that age of like animation. So yes.
Also, that's not a game for me because they got like 60 things going on the screen, and I cannot respond that quickly. I'm too old for that
it's
shit.
a test. Like that game to me is like they're doing something different. Art style number one, and definitely animation itself. Number two. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And here's the thing: do I see like 50 games like that coming out? Not at all. Because if they do, they're gonna just be super gimmicky, trying to pull off the same look, and you can really only get that like a big hit once. I think if you try to do it again, it has to be just so well written or whatever, that it plays well. Because I don't see that being like a mechanically amazing masterpiece either. I see that as like it looks great, it looks cool, it looks fun, and people that are into that kind of thing will absolutely dig it. But I don't see that being like a series of games or anything. Maybe it will be. Who knows? If the same developer picks it up,
Again, I think it's a matter of how the game mechanics work in it, and then the story, how the story goes. If the story it draws people in enough, they're gonna want another one.
Yeah, like I see it as a gimmicky game, but if the mechanics work decently enough, then it will succeed very well, and we'll see more of it. So, yeah. Yeah.
I like that art style was actually brought into that kind of game genre, because when you watch those old 1920 kind of cartoons, they had a lot like if somebody's crying, you see all these tears like flow all over the screen, and these look. So that's the kind of stuff. Like,
everything's exaggerated.
Tears are screaming, So it suits that genre of game where you gotta be up and down and left and right and moving so quickly and dodging stuff and still shooting at the same time. Yeah, but again, I can't do that.
Yeah, the concept of stretch and squash in animation is really put to the limits, to the extremes in that like style. So things are very exaggerated or whatever. But that's because a lot of that animation was that was the first time they were doing it. So they were just like, oh, this is neat. We could do literally whatever the hell we want with this thing, and they did, and freaked the shit out of people.
Yeah.
Wow, this is fucking weird. Yeah, there is some crazy stuff because it's like, wait a second, things are not supposed to stretch and squash that way. What is that thing over there? Why does it have a face on it? Holy shit, that face is morphing into something else. Nightmare fuel. Yeah. So for some people, they're going to really like it. Some people, it's probably nightmare fuel. Who knows? But, yeah.
Yep.
So,
some people might like it and you still get nightmares from it.
That's true. I guess
the last one.
What's that?
Sorry, I was just gonna segue to the last night.
Oh yeah, absolutely perfect. And I was gonna say, along the lines of like very interesting visually done video games, The Last Night definitely falls in that category. And yeah, I'm absolutely looking forward to that video game. I am going to buy that just for the visuals alone. And it's funny because why wouldn't I do that for Ori and the Blind Forest? Because this is a very unique look to me. So,
nice.
It's got like, go ahead,
is
Phil.
This one of those like indie type titles that got like backed by Microsoft, or
probably
what's the thing behind it?
Probably it's like a third party title for them, because I think who are the people here? I got to look it up real quick. Is it Raw Fury or something like that? I didn't write it down, so I got to look them up. Who is the developer?
Did you look at any of the stuff?
Odd Tales. Odd Tales is the developer. Sorry.
Phil, did you see any of the gameplay or whatever of this game?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw some older gameplay.
I'm gonna drop a link in the chat for anyone. There you go.
Yeah, anybody who doesn't see it, check it out, because
a teaser demo that looked a lot different than the reveal trailer that they had this time.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I think as Janzer talks about it, it'll help to have the visual to pair it with.
Yeah.
So.
I got a very
I watched it though.
yeah, I got a very and nobody like I listened to one other podcast and I read some stuff. Nobody really picked up on what I kind of got from it, which is I immediately thought of the game called Flashback that was released a long time ago. It had a very kind of pixelated look to it, kind of like it was not 8-bit for sure, but it was definitely pixelated even for the time. For the time that Flashback came out, games didn't really look like Flashback, but the animation was it was not rotoscoped. It was, I think they actually used like a bodysuit for it or something like that because it was really well done. If it wasn't that, then it actually was rotoscoped, meaning that they motion captured. It was motion captured, I think. So it looked really smooth, which was odd at that time too.
Oh my God, you're so right.
Yeah, even the guy wearing the jacket,
at the thing right around 50 minutes, just
Yep.
the way he flows into that cover, the way like the jacket moves and everything, it's so Flashback.
and of
Or,
course
like,
the
out of
neat
this
thing about
world.
it, the neat thing about it is they mix the visuals, so you have beautiful lighting, gorgeous lighting. You have beautiful like camera effects, water and all that. You have like some really like the water looks amazing on the ground. And the backgrounds look nice and clean, flat, modern, in some aspects or whatever. So they're just mixing so much. There's a lot visually going on in the environments as well. Some of it's like the 8-bit look, and some of it is not. But even if it's 8-bit, has an 8-bit look, it's still like the lighting is rendered extremely well on it. It's just a really neat mix of visual genres going on.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's really interesting because, I don't think I noticed a lot of those multiple layers.
Yeah, but
Because
that's
I
kind of
don't
like
have the natural eye for it.
yeah. Go back to Ori and the Will of the
really
Wisps. Your
interesting.
mind will be blown when you start looking in the background.
Applying the same stuff to that,
Yeah, don't. It's like I watched Doctor Strange, and they tell Doctor Strange when he's going in, just forget everything you think you know. And that's really what you need to do with like Ori and the Blind Forest or whatever, or this game too. It's just don't think about what you normally would think about when you think about a video game. Don't think about the mechanics. Don't look at the character. Don't even follow what they're trying to make you follow with your eye, because that's what happens. Everything has a focus, right? Phil does photography, so he knows everything has to have a focus. You have to frame everything well in video as well, or animation. There has to be a centralized focus, and like your eye has to be drawn to certain things, and they have to try to pull your attention from one point to another, so you're focusing on these things. When you stop doing that and you start like just taking in the elements that are there, you're like, holy shit, that doesn't mean you're going to always pick up everything. I never fucking always do, but you start picking up a lot more. So, but yeah, basically when you let the developer game you, then yes, you're only going to really see what they show you. So, which is probably a good thing a lot of the time, because they're trying to show you a thing for a reason, But
I like that. And it has a kind of feel like those games, like how recent game that you were playing, was it Dominus?
Domina. But there's one that's even closer, Phil. And 109 Volts has been playing it on his Twitch channel. You can probably check the VODs there. Dead Cells.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's Dead Cells is closer, but Dead Cells has a bit more of a polished, pixelated look.
Oh, yeah.
in terms of how the actual characters look.
Yep. I agree.
And it's not that, and they're not saying more polished as in that it looks better. It's just a different kind of style or approach to doing it.
Well, I think there's more complex
I like how they did.
look to that character in Dead Cells as far as the amount of like color that they use on the outfit, for sure. Yep.
Yeah.
And some of the characters in the
more detailed, probably a better word to say than polished. Yeah.
Absolutely. More detailed. So there's a higher level of complexity to it visually, for sure. And that was one of the things I said. What was that game that you were playing? That pre-alpha game that you were playing last time? Dauntless. That's what threw me off about Dauntless. Was I like visual complexity. Okay, well, dichotomy of being with me, like humanity in general, right? I like visual complexity, but I also like clean modern, right? So it's usually an extreme for me. That's how I am. I like high contrast as well, you know. So that's where I usually lay. And usually with visual complexity, they usually use a lot of like high contrast because they want to distinguish elements of whatever that design is, so your eye actually notices all the parts to it, you know. Boy, I feel like talking about work or something. But anyways, yeah, that's when my brain starts going into like, oh, I know this, but let's stop that. I don't want to like fucking jerk off all over visually. So I'm sorry, you were saying Dead Cells. It's got. You're right. I was going to mention that, but in fact, when I was saying, you know, I was just surprised that I remembered the older game, Flashback. But I was thinking about it earlier. I was like, I gotta mention Flashback and Dead Cells because that's the combo that I see. But yeah, I got one. 50%'s good.
Yeah.
Yep, sounds good.
Was there any other specific show or group of games or a specific game that anybody else was impressed with or is excited
I definitely
for?
said one that impressed me, and just because I love the first game that they had is Shadow of War. I just like the dialogue.
Is
I don't
it Shadow
know if
of
you watched any of it.
War or Shadow of Mordor?
The Mordor is
Shadow of Mordor is the
previous.
first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shadow of War, which is kind of silly that they have like both of them have like the same fucking almost same name kind of thing.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Change. But just seeing like one thing I really liked about the Shadow of Mordor, the first game, was the different types of dialogue that the Urukai or Uruks would deliver.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they would say, you know, man, flesh, you know, I smell you, man. I know, just give these like stupid insults, or they would just say something that makes them sound really dumb.
Yeah.
And it would be unique. Like what you experienced with these, I wouldn't get the same lines. I see lines that people got online that I was like, I never saw that. I never heard that line. Or
so they wrote a lot of dialogue that was variable.
Yeah, they gave it a large pool.
And then
that's cool.
With this one, like seeing somebody the dialogue, like you're seeing like this big orc fighting, and you jump in there, and you're like, yeah, we're gonna recruit him, and he's like, oh,
you're talking about the big Chorash or whatever his name was, right?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
And he rips off the other orc's head.
Yep.
Or something. Yeah.
And he's like, kill you know, this usual, you know, or you know, kind of aggression,
right?
Kind of dumb. I'm gonna fight you to the death, kind of thing. And then you just take command of him. And he was like, Dark Lord, Bright Lord, doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, the humor there was kind of fun.
It was just like, I was like, if they deliver on that kind of dialogue throughout the game, it doesn't have to be humorous all the time, but if they deliver on that, that's going to be a really fun game, because I know the combat is going to be good. I thoroughly enjoy the combat to the point that that's the only game that I have ever played with a controller. I bought an Xbox One controller to play that game, and I played that game from beginning to end. And there's somebody that plays games nothing but with a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I thought it was great. I didn't like the quick time ending that they had in the first one.
Right.
So I'm guessing that they're not going to do that on this one. But yeah, I not proud to say it, but I actually pre-ordered it because, well, partially because of Bundle Stars.
Right.
Bundle Stars, affiliated with the B.
I was going to ask you, I just didn't want to like shill too much. But because this actually doesn't come from us. Yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
Oh my God, I sound old. A letter. They wrote me a handwritten letter.
Unfold this multi-folded letter. Hold on. Yeah.
But yeah, they sent email.
Mama, where my spectacles at?
Yeah.
It came on parchment and had to be rolled.
Parchment.
Yeah. I was like,
pigeon
30% off. Well, fuck this shit. I gonna buy the higher tier.
I got that too. So I think that's if you just sign up for Bundle Stars. Like I get this 30% off. 30% off. Jesus Christ, man. Yeah.
And if you look, it's so bad that for 30% off, the standard version costs $60. That is standard. Then you got silver and gold.
Right.
If you buy the gold version with the 30% off, it's only gonna cost you $10 more than the standard version. I'm like, well,
yeah.
What am I to do?
You bastards! How dare you?
Yeah.
Speaking about that, I do have some. Because I get like stuff from Bundle Stars as well. You might have gotten this too, actually, because I don't think this was a marketing specific thing to me. But they have like Total War, Warhammer 2. They have like Fallout 4 VR, the Evil Within 2, Wolfenstein 2. We haven't even talked about those yet. Dishonored. Basically, some of the new games from E3 with like, it looks like from 13 to 18% off on the pre-orders there. And in that same thing, if anything, what I'm saying is go to Bundle Stars, make an account so you can at least get on their mailing list and get these fucking discount, like vouchers for 30% off, number one. I got similar shit for other games that I've talked about. But then you also get the heads up so you don't have to like keep going to the sites to get, what's going on there. And if you do us a favor, you can go to b3gamingcast.com and we actually have a link that's affiliated through with Bundle Stars. I believe it's b3gamingcast.com/gaming-deals. But if you just go to that homepage, you'll see gaming deals there on the front.
That was the only thing I was a little bit disappointed with is that I had to click on a link from their email, so I couldn't go to the B3 site.
Well, here's what you do. You get the email, you're like, oh, okay, cool. I'll just go over to B3 and then I'll, see it there on the site somewhere. Like you'll still see the same deal.
With that, the email, they said that the code that they give you only works with the link that you got from the email.
Oh, for that? Well, it's probably, there's probably not going to be any kind of like, I see where that comes from.
Yeah, so I was like, B3 can't get any kickbacks from that. So I was like,
that's fine. We've actually had some people in the community that have been able to take advantage of that. And I only say that because I don't bullshit anybody about something. If I'm looking at like, if I think 30% off is good, I don't think that I'm saying that because I think that, I'm trying to sell somebody something. I don't give a shit. 30% off anywhere is fucking good, And we don't even get anything off of that. I'm just saying it's good. Like, in fact, right now, as one of the promos that I saw, Humble Bundle still has Dark Souls 2, Scholar of First Sin for $12 if you subscribe this month to them. I'm sure you can get other stuff from them as well. I don't get shit from Humble Bundle. The point being is, like, I remember seeing Dragon's Dogma Dark Risen for 60% off, 50% off Street Fighter 5, just subscribe to these things. I'm just saying, if you happen to go to Bundle Stars and see something, go to the website first and, link through. It'd help us. And what does that do for B3 and for y'all? Well, it helps to pay, I put the website up. It helps to pay the server costs, or the Podbean itself is a $15 a month thing. I pay for all that stuff, whatever. So it's not a big deal, but it wouldn't hurt to kind of get some of that paid for too, if I possibly can. So it's not like we get a huge. It's like a 5% thing. So total transparency here, So there you go. And as the games are cheap anyway, we got like. Here's 3 cents, Chancer. Good luck hitting that 100 payout.
And the other thing too is that we're not like streamers that have, not all streamers, but some streamers that have G2A links and they never use them.
Right.
But they put them on there and send people to that.
Yeah.
We actually use Bundle Stars or Humble Bundle.
I've actually bought stuff through Bundle Stars through our links too. I bought a couple of things and I'm like, I feel like I'm like paying myself here in a way, but also buying from myself, and it's weird, but it doesn't hurt. It's just like going through the link. I was gonna do it anyways, and that's at the end of the B3 showcast. So,
that's right.
God damn it, I'm sorry, it was so off track, but honestly I think that's valuable info. I don't really think that was derailing. Who the fuck doesn't want to buy shit on the cheap?
Exactly. I really like a good deal.
And speaking of, just to say once again, if you want to be part of the B3 Discord, there's people there, like Emphasize, for example, that always brings up stuff. He, in fact, brought up something for, I think, shit. Oh, did he delete it? I didn't mean for him to delete it. I just said put it in gaming deals.
Talking about SWAT 4?
Yep. Yeah. I forgot where that was. I think that was on Humble Bundle, for example, and I think it was like $4.99 because I did look into it. But he's talking about how that was a nice tactical shooter similar to R6 Siege, but maybe more tactical. So But anyways, basically what I'm saying is there's other people there that talk about deals all the time too. So back on track.
Yeah, but again, I don't know.
Shadow
if
War.
Well, I know you didn't play Shadow of Mordor, but I think Graham, did you play Shadow of Mordor?
I won a copy with all the DLC.
Yeah, you did.
From somebody else's giveaway, and I played it on my 500 follower 24-hour marathon, and I revisited it like 2 or 3 times, and I played it a couple times off stream. It played to me like a way more interesting Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. I've heard it's got like the best
real
mechanics.
Tight, but it has a lot of similar kind of movement and combat foundations. And I really liked it, but it didn't like draw me in a way that I was like, I gotta play through this and do it all. But I also, in more recent years, have been stockpiling more and more games and have less and less time. So I get a little bit more picky in choosing. But it probably would have been a game that if I was in college, I would have like steamrolled in like 2.5 weeks. That would have been all I played and did all the collectibles and all the optional things. But it's a really good game. If you like that type of combat and you just want way more, like if you were like, I play Assassin's Creed and I kind of wish that I would just fight people more often.
Like Batman has similar mechanics. Oh, what the fuck? What the hell?
That makes me have a
similar Matthew
else.
McConaughey's are in Batman. Tomb Raider has similar-ish. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Mad Max, that game that I fucking love. Emphasize gifted that to me, and he was like, "Did you ever finish that?" I was like, "No," but it's kind of that thing that you said, Graham. Like, I'll play something for a while, but there's so many other games to play, and here's how I end up playing games anyways. Once I am satisfied, sir, I am done with the game. I don't feel the need to finish a game because I don't always find game stories to be like, oh my god, this is so in depth. You know, they just don't. They're just like
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But, I actually could say similar things like that about Shadow of Mordor too. Like the ending wasn't like if you didn't play it to the end, I don't think that you missed anything major. I think the major part was the actual combat, the nemesis system, and the leveling up. Like that whole traversing that little world that they created and engulfing yourself in the mechanics of it was, and the whole because of the nemesis system, to me that was the highlight of the game. The story was like, all right, well, it's Lord of the Rings, so if you like that stuff, then that's great. But honestly, they could have made that any other thing. But of course, if it's Lord of the Rings, it's going to get more attention, like the same way they had the Friday the 13th game. That got a lot of attention because it's on something that exists already. So that's probably why. But I think if it could have gotten the attention that it would without being connected to Lord of the Rings, it's still a really good game.
They used a lot of like abilities. Is there more abilities now?
Yeah, you can got more abilities. It's like more of like you building an army, as opposed to infiltrating the army and turning them against each other for your benefit.
I mean, in combat, it was ridiculous the amount of abilities he was using. At one point, he threw like these 3 darts or knives or something. I was like, what the fuck? What does he not have? He's like all kinds of tools of like ghost powers, Yep.
He's like fucking Batman on heroin.
Yeah.
Like, the part ghost.
He's like God Batman. He's just
part sword gonna chop you up. Yeah.
Well, I think the story is he has like the Numenorian kings or princes or something like that, right? Is that what it is? Are they? I know Lord of the Rings. I know nothing about Shadow of Mordor.
Basically, it's the elf that created the.
Oh, there's
the
an
rings.
elvish spirit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that spirit and him are locked, intertwined.
Okay. I thought it was like because he's from the line of
powers.
Numenorian kings, and I think he's like the one that is the least. He's like the most of that type, basically, which were they were closer to Elvish, basically, is what it is. Basically,
yeah.
That's some really interesting, super nerdy stuff that I don't know anything about.
Oh man, I used to really know all this stuff. Yep. So yeah, no, I agree. I was like, oh, more of that game. That was really good. That I am maybe or maybe not going to buy at some point. Even 30% off, I'm like, and I think what it is the barrier for that game to me looks so, like, it looks like such a tall wall to climb. Once I get into that, like over that wall, yeah, I'm trying to explain. Like, I see, to me, I don't see those types of games that are very, like, it looks very in-depth. It looks like there's a lot to do. It looks like there's a lot of mechanics to play with, especially all the powers. And because there's so much to do from what I could see, and it looks like I could spend a lot of time, I see that as a big wall in front of me that I have to get over. And once I get over that, then I'm locked in it, because it turns out that wall is really just a ring that I climbed into, and I can't get out of it, which is what happens with me. You'll notice that's what I do with games. I did that with ESO. I did that with The Division. I'm doing that with Paragon now. I am in that game for a while. And Dark Souls, I did it, and I don't like that. As much as I like it, I like being able to play other games without feeling like I'm only playing one game. And it's weird. It's that dichotomy of like, I love playing this game and I'm going to play it all the damn time. Then I'm like, man, I really would like to get to Vanquish again, but I can't because I'm addicted to Paragon right now.
Yeah.
So that's what it looks like to me. And so that's what will push me off of playing a game. Like, it's almost like there's so much there that I don't want to touch it.
Yeah, you saying that right makes me think that you should never ever touch Black Desert
online. Yeah, well, that's why I haven't.
Holy fuck,
dude! I wouldn't have touched The Division, but fucking, Count gifted it to me. And ESO, the only reason I touched it was because it was free that weekend.
Quiet, Count may be listening.
Oh shit. Yeah, that's a good point. That's why I haven't mentioned anything.
You mentioned something. You're in the box.
Yeah, and other people try to call my bluff on stuff, and I'm like, I am not bluffing, motherfucker. I say I'm not doing it for a reason, and giving it to me doesn't mean I'm not going to play it. That means I'm going to play it a lot, and I don't want that. So, but yeah, looks like a lot of stuff. Like, it looks like it's going to be a good game,
Yeah.
So,
and I thought it was kind of interesting too that I mentioned like Black Desert there, that they showed that in the Microsoft.
Yeah, they did.
Conference. Yeah, I was like, what? Black Desert
for the consoles? Yeah.
What? But I mean, I didn't think that because I don't think it. I actually think that Black Desert on the console would play really freaking well because of the combat. Because it doesn't play like an MMO combat ways. It's totally, move. Press A, press the your attack button, like your left click mouse, or press the right button. You can do this particular move. You can slash to the side. It's very jump around slash evade kind of combat, perfect for consoles because you could probably even pinpoint like I want to jump at this angle as opposed to just to the side.
Right.
So it would probably be even better on a console. But I was kind of like, okay, I didn't see that come in. Because I know Microsoft was all about, we're going to have games, and more games. Like, wow, they just enlisted everybody there.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, of all of the ones I saw, Microsoft had the most, like Xbox conference, they had the most things that I was interested in. And I've heard other people say, it wasn't that good. And I was like, really? What? I mean, there's so many cool things that they showed. Like the last night alone to me was like a super fucking win. I think that was from their conference. I'm pretty, because I just jumbled all this shit together.
I just chalked that up to the whole. It's cool to hate on Microsoft since they fucked up the DRM launch of Xbox One. That's why there's so many more PlayStation people, because you had some that jumped ship, and you had some that were justified in their console war of choice,
right?
And then because so many had jumped ship and so many were already cemented, they pulled more people over for social reasons, because that's where the strength in online console player is. You play with your friends, and so that's how that got even further cemented. So I think there's just a whole lot of just being
the thing to do.
And you just have to hate it because it's Microsoft.
Yeah, and I do not like some Microsoft stuff, so I really do understand. But
that is absolutely fair, because they're not perfect, and they got a lot of shit they do wrong.
But that's every kind of big company.
But you got to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
Watching the E3 conference too, though,
Yeah.
I find that it clearly shows you can't please gamers.
Oh, no.
People are like, oh yeah, your new console is gonna have what? Oh, six teraflops of this, and
Yeah.
oh yeah, what about the games? And what did Microsoft do? Oh, you guys want games? They sat down and just showed you games on top of games on top of games, and then people were like,
really cool stuff.
That wasn't really that impressive a conference, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? So you gotta have people hanging from the ceiling like fucking Sony.
They actually had, that was a Sony one. Yeah, okay. I was gonna say I saw that.
Yeah, but no, I'm just thinking
interface has been the same for like 3 console generations, and never made any changes ever.
The main gripe that people have with Xbox is like they don't have enough titles, and blah, blah. They've been saying that since last year.
Well, I think that they did kind of screw up with the last architecture, and they admitted it themselves.
Yep.
I agree, but what I'm just saying is that they said, okay, we fucked up, but guess what?
Yeah.
Here's everything.
We're
they're
doing it right
the
now.
sink, and then gamers like, I'm like, what the fuck? What do you got to do? They got to give you their mother as well too, you know? Here's the mom. She's hot.
I don't know. I mean, depends. Yeah, there you go. All right, fair enough. Speaking of, my neighbor came by while I was getting my net fixed. It's kind of a weird aside, and but then she was like, "Hey, we're gonna have. I'm gonna be working on this wall in my house with my daughter." And I'm like, "What do you mean working on the wall? Like, I don't know what that means." And I'm gonna have the music kind of loud, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I don't really." And she's like, "I know you're a very like quiet and to yourself person." I'm like, "People watching me? What the fuck's going on?" You know, because I'm out like late at night, early in the morning. But yeah, I usually like will have my headphones in, listen to podcasts or music, whatever it is. Because what's you gonna do? Walking the dog.
Yeah, right.
And it's bright out, so I'll wear my fucking sunglasses. You know, that's Texas. You know, but not a big deal. And
To be fair, some people like to know what their neighbors are.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I've never seen anyone out there, Phil. It's not like they sit on the porch. There's no one ever walking from their car to the door.
Windows houses come with them.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like then that means that they were absolutely like, hey, there's a person, you know. So they're creeps now.
Hey,
that's
honey,
what I'm getting
it's
at.
that guy from next door. I've seen him.
Yeah,
that's who he is. That's
so
him.
mysterious. Oh, you know.
I was kind of hoping that your story was gonna go like, you know, my daughter, you want to come over, and she had her, you know, shirt like in the front or something. Yeah.
Well, it was like I think they took that opportunity because the door was open. And the tech dude was like, you know, and so things were going on because they could have come by at any other fucking time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was like, I was like, oh, yeah, you know, my normal self, I'm an idiot and I have confidence like for fucking days. And I'm like, oh, yeah, music, no, it's fine as long as it's not polka. You know? Yeah. And without missing a beat, the lady was like, oh, well, regardless of the type of music. And I was like, oh, stick in the mud, huh? I didn't say that, but I was thinking it, you know. And then I was like,
probably caught her off guard.
Probably. Yeah. And I was like, no worry. Don't worry about it. I was like, if it's a problem, you know, but I was like, it doesn't bother me. You know, it probably won't bother. And sure enough, like, I think I vaguely heard a hint of something. I was like, whatever, it's fine.
At least he didn't break into like a Bill Cosby impersonation. Would
you like a hot Cosby? A hot Cosby? What's that? Oh, girl, let me tell you. Oh God, I feel horrible. Okay, let's move on. Wait,
no, you know why I don't feel bad about doing stuff like that? Is that people like that should be called out. So fuck.
Right. Yeah. But it's one of those. It's a difficult thing. It's because you grew up with the. You know, if you ever saw the cartoon, I saw the cartoon. You know, and you have there's all these things that you know, and then you're like, oh my God, my father was Hitler. What? How did I not know? I just thought that we just had amazing fucking things to wear, and everything was restructured. We always had everybody doing stuff for us, and blonde chicks hanging out all the time. What? Go ahead.
I didn't feel bad about it because, you know, I thought the Jeffersons was a way better series than that. So
yeah. Well, the cartoon was for kids, and it was something that never did that. Fat Albert did not exist as a cartoon. Like it brought another cultural thing there that didn't exist, and it was cool. Like, well, at least for kids.
I'm just gonna mention this quick, but let's get back to games. He
Yeah,
actually left the courtroom recently, like this week gone, and did a Fat Albert impersonation.
Oh,
so anyway,
God.
moving
Yeah.
on. He's just trying to fuck it up for everybody. Oh
Yeah. Got to split your,
I'm thinking about Fat
brain
Albert
up.
giving the other fat lit kid roofies.
This is why you compartmentalize stuff, because if you don't, you're just like, oh, why do I live a life?
That's why,
because I have to.
Like Michael Jackson music.
Yeah,
because I never dealt with his personal
life.
It's
the same thing. Yep. Oh God. Let's get back to video games. Yeah. Whoa. I feel gross now. All right.
Hey, let's bring back to video games. That's where I don't start developers or tell them to kill themselves or drink bleach because I want to enjoy their game. So, yeah, it all plays back in B3.
Did you?
B3.
But shit. One big thing that I saw from E3 that everybody was kind of like a buzz about, that Spider-Man game, which didn't really show.
That's what I was going to transition to when you said Batman.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What did y'all think about that? That looked really cool. I don't know how the fucking gameplay is, but that looked really cool.
The movie that I saw was really cool. Good. Once again, it was a cool movie. It was.
That's Spider-Man. That's like a mixture. That's like
they had web
age,
slinging,
but old school Spider-Man. Yeah,
and it looked like you could aim it too. I saw the targets on fucking objects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my whole. I've never.
Your whole. I don't want to hear about that. You know what's weird? It's only called Spider-Man. I hate that.
It's just Spider-Man. Yeah,
it's just Spider-Man.
That's a reboot kind of thing, though. I think
that's add something else to somehow find it like the year or something.
Give it a fucking title. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. I'm sorry. Your whole.
Yeah, my whole thing with that is, of course, any sort of game that has like the flip over enemies, whatever, high cinematic combat always gets thought back to like Batman. I've never liked the Batman games. I've never gotten into them.
Okay.
I've played like the second one. I was at a friend's house and like they were at some Joker boss fight where there's like 2 train tracks, and they were like, "This part is really hard," and then I was like, "Huh, it looks pretty difficult." And they're like, "Why don't you try it?" And I was like, "Oh, you just press this button to flip over them every time, and you can't get hurt, and you just mash the melee button, and then anytime a counter thing happens, you push that button." So I pushed basically 2 buttons and occasionally a third button, and I beat the entire thing, having never played the game before.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big stealth person, so like the stealth mechanics are like really cool looking, but never super appealed to me. This game has a lot of those similarities, but I felt like it had more complexity to it, even if it was equally as cinematic and like whatever. Like when he in the gameplay that I saw, whatever is scripted or not, like one of the last enemies, he like flung up into the wall.
Yeah.
And like the different shooting to like stun the different enemies, and it still had like the flip over them and the generic melee like combat, which included kicks and stuff and whatever. But I felt like there was more there that I haven't seen from a game like that.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked.
There were a lot of things going on for sure. Like when he kicked that dude off the building, but then like zipped him back because Spider-Man can't kill him. I was like, cool. What? I was like, is that an auto thing? Like, does it automatically do that, or do you like have to do it? Because I don't think that they're gonna let him kill somebody. But if they do, that's gonna be fucking hilarious. It's raining man, throwing people off fucking buildings left and right.
Yep. Yeah, you know that if it's gonna be an automatic thing where you pulls them back, people are just gonna start kicking people off buildings just to make them pull them back all the time.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
Yeah. It just, I was like, okay, yeah, we'll see about that.
That's PlayStation exclusive again, too, isn't it? Right?
I think so.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Ooh.
No, I didn't follow that at
all.
That's
the only bad thing about that.
Yeah, something to look up. I'm starting to drop like trailers in the chat for people that are hanging out there, and for y'all, if you want to see, just make sure you mute your tabs. Although I don't think any of your stuff will come through anyway, so it should be fine.
I also like the look of the Spider-Man suit with the white in it.
I don't understand why white though. I missed that part. Why?
I think that's all to tie in with that particular alternate Spider-Man or whatever. Because that's who's the black kid Spider-Man. That's what's his name?
Miles Morales.
Miles Morales. I think that's what he had in his look.
I don't remember it being a white spider, but okay.
So
I'm sure he had white in his outfit though.
Apparently, the costumes can be switched. I was just reading something randomly. So that's just the one that I went with, but apparently you can also do the other one.
Yeah, well, I was like, wow, how much red, white, and blue can you get up in there? America!
Yeah, every Spider-Man game that has come out, they always give you the option to have multiple or different variations of suits. You know, that's their whole thing. Oh, collect these collectibles and you can get this suit or do this thing. And I fully expect you to be able to customize your Spider-Man look with the various looks that they give you.
Cool. It looked really great, for sure. Yep.
Yeah, just a matter like how Graham said, how it plays. You know, if I only got to press 3 buttons, then it's gonna be real easy. And
it might just to appeal to the mass, you know, and that might be okay.
Be easy, but at least it looks cooler and you have more options. That's what I'm all about.
Yeah, and it also looks like the mechanic, like how the web swinging, and he swung around a building and then he, shoot some web out and pulled himself back to the building and started wall running kind of thing, you know, that whole momentum. And it looked way better than some games, like older Spider-Man games, where he was just like shooting web into like infinity and it would latch onto something and you would just swing through the air. It's like, yeah, that's kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wonder how open world and how the mechanics are going to play within that. It looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it had that also that kind of feeling of, all right, Spider-Man is here to save the day. Oh, fuck. What I did just now is going to cause a catastrophe. Well, let me just fix this. You know, like he brought down the helicopter, but then
I love that.
The rudder flipped off and he's like, fuck.
Yep.
Well, he didn't say fuck, of course, but, you know, he's like, you know, I got to pull that back up, slap it onto a building. Cool. Let's deal with this other, you know, let's deal with the main issue. That I love how Spider-Man does that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I like that I could see mechanically, if you were playing the game, how that's going to work. Like they were actually showing, oh, look, here's the prompt for this. You know, I was like, good. That's what I need to see.
And
I need to see how it's going to work. I don't want to see how cool it looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Very cool.
Indeed.
I was impressed. And I haven't given a shit about a Spider-Man game probably ever.
Same.
I wanted Spider-Man games to be good, but I wasn't like, oh, this one sucks. This is so bad that this sucks. I was kind of like, oh well, they fucked it up.
Spider hams. All right.
If somebody was here, they would totally be able to tell me exactly what that thing is, but I think it's Insomniac Spider-Man.
Oh, I don't know the developer. Yeah, I'd have to look it up. Yeah, but I did put something in the trail, a link in the chat, so you can it probably says it on that video. I bet. Let me take a look.
Yeah, Insomniac has worked on Ratchet and Clank and Sunset Overdrive.
There you go. Yeah,
Sunset Overdrive.
Insomniac Games. There you go.
And Sunset Overdrive is a Xbox. That's a console exclusive.
That was a really fun looking game, and I think it got a lot of hype. And then when it came out, it kind of fell flat for whatever fucking reason. And I think that the only reason it did was expectations, because I still think it was probably a good game. You know,
most people that actually play it usually say it's a pretty fun game.
Yeah,
like they're not like blown out of the water, but almost everybody I know has said that they enjoy it.
Yeah,
but yeah, and Ratchet and Clank is pretty widely, enjoyed series as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, what do we got on the clock? We're 2 hours in. For the sake of like time, I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things. 11 things to bring up. Do you mind if I just drive?
Yeah,
I can bring them up and we can talk about them.
I have like one thing that's not on that list, so I'll interject probably if I have something to say on your list.
Okay. Yeah, I've also got trailers so you guys can check out on your right now as well. If you just click on the link, this is one we're going to be talking about. Raiders of the Broken Planet, I think, is what it's called. So I'm going to bring that up for myself as well. But that looked visually interesting to me, and I think mechanically as well, it also looked interesting. From what I recall, it was like a third-person, team-based shooter. So kind of think Division / You know, Destiny not, because if Destiny were Mass Effect, I think multiplayer more so. I just saw some ability usage. There was a dude that had a shield there. Visually, I like the look of it, kind of newer graphics.
It's kind of, I've actually seen like some, because they let some streamers or get their hands on it.
Yeah.
And it kind of has like a little Mass Effect kind of look, but the main focus is that it's a shooter game. It's a third-person kind of shooter game that focuses on melee. So you have to use melee. I think is it to get ammo.
I saw some melee.
You can't just shoot them and stuff. Yeah. Like, you have to use melee. Melee is like one of the key things that you have to do.
And I gave y'all
objectives.
The last year's one. Here's this year's. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a squad-based objective. Then you could do like a little thing where you have, I can't remember what they call it, like a nemesis kind of thing. So like there's one boss that just goes through the mission that you're trying to do and just tries to fuck you up each time.
Third person melee with guns, you know, I'm on that. And I like the style of it, even though it's a bit kind of cel-shaded. Well, kind of like, I guess, I don't know, flat, I guess. It's not cel, but it's starting to look a little bit cartoonish. I don't even know how to put that style anymore. Like, it's not cel shaded, but it's definitely more of a flat look sometimes. So it's not realistic for damn sure. You know,
saturated almost.
Yeah, there are some saturated colors to it for sure.
One thing I did notice though, from when and the guys did point it out while they were playing, the characters that you can play needed more balance.
Okay,
like one character was like really fucking slow. Like it was to the point where when I first started the game, the person was playing that character, and I was like, this game doesn't look good.
Yeah.
And then they switched a different character, and this character was like, they had all the mobility and this, and I was like, all right, what if that character is slower? They need to give him a better toolkit.
So that's
to justify being like that.
That was the problem that I had with Battleborn. Some of those characters are not good characters to play with when you first start that game, because it's so boring if you do. So because they didn't balance them right or something, you know. So, but that looked interesting. I'm not saying like, oh my god, I'm gonna go buy it, but it looks interesting, you know, faux show. So, this is the next one, Skull and Bones. Now, people brought up Sea of Thieves, I think.
Thieves, yeah,
right. But I saw this and I was like, oh, penis is hard. You know, basically they took
the parts that people loved about Black Flag and made it a game.
And Graham just took the words out of my mouth. Correct. They took all of the shitty parts of Assassin's Creed and removed it and just gave you the boat and the pirate-ness. Yes, indeed. So that's a PvPvE world with giant monsters, at least one that I saw. At the end of that trailer, there's a giant fucking like kraken underneath the ship, or a squid, or something like that.
Yeah, so, they didn't say how it triggered it, but something triggers it. Oh, but I like how they kind of implement it. Yeah, I like how it implements. They implemented certain things in it, like you have to get the treasure, but you still have to fight the other people. So you gotta stop them from getting treasure. You gotta get the most treasure, and then when you do get the most treasure, when it comes to the end of the game, then some other pirates, some bigger pirates that you cannot defeat, chase after whoever has the most treasure. So it's kind of like, well, fuck, you dominate and you're gonna win, but are you actually gonna win?
Right.
Because you know you have to outrun these guys and survive and get out. And then I like how they were showing like one person actually sacrificed their ship so that the person with all the loot, the most loot,
because you could play with your friends. In a fleet of ships. Dynamics. Yeah. Neat
so it's
stuff.
not just you. So when you said PvPvE,
correct,
I was like, yeah, that's kind of cool, because it's not just PvP. You also gotta watch out for the environment.
Yep. And so does everyone else. Yep. That's correct.
It's basically the pen and paper idea of the Dark Zone, except maybe it'll be done right.
We'll see. Yeah, as long as there's no chicken dance moves with the ship, you should be okay, right?
Can you imagine
is the ship doing that? Or somebody's ship just spinning like 360, like super fast.
They can never hit me.
Oh god.
Can you imagine chicken dancing sails at least?
Mistake. Oh. What a mistake. And I love the Division, but what is what it is. Yeah, looks really neat. Do you want to talk about Sea of Thieves?
Sea of Thieves?
Because I don't know anything about it.
I don't know too much about it.
People talked about it in the Discord, and that got me interested. It is
visually nothing that's interesting to you. I can tell that just by looking at it. But
yeah, I saw it, and I feel the same way.
It's a similar type of thing. I don't know 100% if it's like an MMO, but I kind of got that vibe that's MMO-y. And you run around with your friends and you can like build stuff and whatever. It's got that sort of like survival-y type of building shit too, but it's all pirates and shit, or privateers and all that jazz. Anyway, it's a game that I'm not interested in, but it seems like there's a good amount of people who are.
Right. Or at least I saw a few people in the Discord.
And it's a console exclusive.
There you go.
Directly from Microsoft thing. So people always talk about, oh my god, Xbox needs more exclusives, blah, blah. So this would be one of them.
I don't have to worry about hating on cartoony sharks.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
One thing I said when you watch the gameplay is that those pirates got some impressive fucking lungs, though. Like they swam under, went into the wreckage.
You're talking about Skull and Bones, correct?
No, this is
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's parts where they go in
they go underwater.
They go in the ship and they bringing out treasure, and I'm like, oh fucking long, you can only hold
They
your
lift
breath.
the chest. They fucking swim with it up. Yep.
Yep.
So it's definitely a video game.
It looks like something that like Skull and Bones looks like something that I feel, just maybe from the look, and maybe it's just association stereotypes or judgments or me projecting it onto the game, which is fair.
Judgmental piece of shit.
I feel like Skull and Bones is where like the people who want to have more of that like pirate experience and want to be all hardcore about it and like really test themselves to play. And Sea of Thieves is something that looks like you'd play like just to fuck around with your friends.
Yeah, it looks more fun.
Simple.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I forgot to mention Skull and Bones also has sea shanties. So yeah.
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 I heard them down for that. Same one that was in
Black Flag.
Black Flag, yeah. The one that they sing while they're on the ship.
I really need to get back to it, but I couldn't because there's like water tornadoes. So pretty much I can't like play this either.
That link that you put, I went towards the end of it for Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
Launching a person out of a cannon.
Yeah.
Is outrageous. There you go. But that's the type of fun that I think the game offers. It's a little bit more absurd.
Yeah, it's more of a game. Yeah, it's not trying to be more realistic and all that.
Even like I go to a completely different genre, like Saints Row versus GTA. Right. Sometimes people just want the silly, fun, good time.
Well, like I didn't mention Crackdown 3 and Terry Crews being like promoting it or whatever, and I think he's like kind of a character in it. But he's also in. Oh gosh, you just mentioned it.
Overwatch?
No. He wants to be Doomfist, but that's not happening for whatever reason. But he's also in. You just said the game.
That's not happening?
The GTA. Well, I don't know if
Saints Row.
Saints Row. There you go. Yeah, he's in that, right? Isn't he in that?
No, he's not in Saints Row.
Oh, damn it! I thought he was like a character in that. Anyways, but he's definitely in Crackdown. He was, or looks like they're putting him like kind of modeled in Crackdown. I just don't find that game like fun. I find like if you want to play that kind of look of a game, just go play Saints Row. Like it just kind of looks like a lesser version. Yeah,
the mechanics are very different because Crackdown is all oriented around you being basically a super person. It's much more superhero-y.
Right.
And so you like build these skills and you like very easily just pick up like semi trucks and chuck them like 4 city blocks or jump like the height of a skyscraper. Mm-hmm. Like it's super ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
But that's all of the fun.
Yeah. If you want fun, go play that. There you go.
Yeah. If you want to just be super OP and have a good time and jump around and be ridiculous, that's a thing. Yeah.
I don't know what that has to do with Sea of Thieves.
He's not going to be in. He's not going to be at Overwatch anymore.
I don't know. I'm not sure. They were saying things like that. They were like, "Oh, look, Terry Crews. He's just going to be Doomfist wherever he wants to be because Blizzard doesn't want to like put him in Overwatch. He's just going to do whatever he wants, and play that character in every other game." So I was just, it was just a joke made. I don't really know if they're going to not have him in there or not. Is he like actually scheduled to be in the game?
he was in discussions with them. I know that for sure. He
Yeah,
had meetings,
exactly.
So I don't know. Outside of just having meetings, I don't know how far it went.
Right.
Well, okay.
Yeah. All right. Next on the list, a full remake of Shadow of the Colossus, which is fucking amazing. They're doing that.
The only thing that I think
chat.
is interesting about that, even remotely, is the fact that they said something about controls being changeable or whatever.
Yes.
Which I think for some people could be a barrier to like going back.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, oh, this game was so blah 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 nostalgia.
Well, they're redoing it mechanically
like,
and all, so it should play like a
modern
new game. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Which
just have the concept.
I think is the coolest thing about that, because I, unlike probably 95% of everybody on the planet, I don't have a high opinion of that game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mine is still unopened. I bought it. I'm like, this is a classic, and I need to get it.
But
so
I think it's important to note that mechanics thing is a notable change, because they did make a remake on the PS4 recently.
Yes, they did. But apparently it was really bad.
Mechanically changed, yeah.
Yep, I heard that it was really bad. It was not very good, I should say. What I didn't really like about the character model was it doesn't really look like the original character model. Like, it looks... I thought this was a girl, actually, the character running. And I was like, is that a dude?
I didn't look at any of the stuff for it, because
56 seconds in, you could see the person running. About 54 seconds in, it doesn't... Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm, I am all that is man. No, but...
That hair looks shorter.
Like, the running animation, when they're from behind, that hip twist, that looks more feminine to me. But then again, this is Japan.
That's pretty close to the game, though, from what I remember.
This is also... Well, I could recognize the first one as a dude. I don't recognize this necessarily as
which
being
is interesting, because this one has shorter hair, which normally, by stereotypes,
but the features of like the ear, the nose, especially running from the side, when you look at the character running from the side, really looks like a tomboyish chick. And I've known some women that look like this.
Here's I don't know if
Japan likes androgyny, though.
Of these references, but the original protagonist looks more like Kime from Lost Odyssey. And this chick looks like Julia Roberts as Tinkerbell.
Perfect. You're absolutely right. That's absolutely it. That is it. Yep. I knew a chick that one time, like I was going to college at the time, and I use this phrase because I heard it and I thought it was hilarious. She was talking to some dude that was her boyfriend, from what I remember. She said something like, well, I have the body of a 12-year-old boy. And I was like, oh, man, that's so good. Because she's like 19, 20, something like that, But she was kind of like making fun of herself, Yeah. It was such a good line. Yeah. And that's what this looks like. This looks like a young, like... woman with the body of a 12-year-old boy.
Of Kime, the other reference that you might not have gotten.
Oh, okay.
But that's how the original protagonist looks.
Oh, okay. More to me. Well, that looks like a dude.
Like longer hair, but clearly a dude.
It's the facial features, and like I said here, because I look at like the animation running, the thickness of the thigh, and like especially when he. At 104 to 10, let's see, 10, if you hit 103, maybe even 102, 102 to 105, look at the animation running there, how much hip twist there is, but also look at the thigh thickness and the calf thickness and all that. Look at all the lower body, like proportion, the butt, it looks like a chick. But like I said, could be just Japan and their androgyny love,
Yeah.
And that's fine. I'm just like, doesn't look like a dude, though. I was just like, that's weird.
I always thought, to me, it just looked like a little boy. I just thought of, what's that one that came out with the little pet thing that was delayed for 10 or 12 years?
Well, that was,
that just came out Christmas, man.
It's Pat. It's not Ico. Ico is that other one. It's a sequel to
Yeah, is he
to
sequel after
this.
Ico, I think, yeah. I thought that's what this...
Guardian,
Guardian?
whatever.
Yeah, Last Guardian, The Last Guardian.
Last Guardian.
I thought
There
that
you
character
go.
was like that, but no
But
Graham
that looked like a little
that's what
boy.
the original character with this sword. That's like, that doesn't look anywhere like the same. So they changed something.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, that is not
thing.
the actual character from the first one, but he looks a lot more like that. That is the main character from a JRPG called Lost Odyssey.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. The one that you put, Graham? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Pat. No, Pat from SML was short and dumpy. You know, that was Pat. Yeah.
For the whole trailer, it looked like a boy to me, but
really,
it had that kind of weird running animations like how Ico has from that same game to me. So I just figured it was
these proportions just don't look, and the animation they just don't look like a man or a male to me. But I'm a dying breed. I don't like my thoughts of like, you know, I remember even tweeting today.
There's the protagonist Phil in chat.
Let's take a look at that. Oh yeah. Okay. Like even though the hair has braids, kind of like a chick would, I still see like the leg, like the legs look like a dude. They don't necessarily look shapely or anything like that. The shoulders as well, nothing there really, except for the peak of the hair and maybe the braids on the front could be like feminine in some way.
Yep.
The facial structure could be somewhat as well, but I think in fact it could be more of a masculine woman a little bit. Yeah. Okay. I could see a little bit.
Than anything.
Yeah. But this one definitely, to me, just, I don't know, kind of pushed the barrier a little bit.
I definitely see that Tinkerbell from Hook or whatever. Like, I definitely see Julia Roberts.
I'm going to war, Dad, and you can't stop me. Yeah. I'm aware of this, too. Yeah. But anyways, my sexism aside, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, any other thoughts? If no other thoughts, let's move on to the next one.
I have no other thought.
No thoughts. I never played that old game, so I couldn't really care less.
Yeah, gotcha.
Never been impressed.
I hope it's good for people that want to play it. That's all I can say.
Yeah. I agree.
I think mechanically, anybody who has been super nostalgic and go back to it and it fades a little because of the experience, I think this is going to do it wonders, like across the board for anybody.
As long as they get the mechanics right.
Correct.
It'll be fine. You know? If they try to make the mechanics like the old one, which I don't think they're that dumb. Usually Japanese developers don't give a fuck what the fans want. They just, here's the game
do it
in the vision that we wanted. Why would you want the shitty old mechanics? They think logically. That's the reason, you know, but they also think the way they want logically, because we all do, right? We all think however our own logic says. My logic dictates that I'm going to do these things, and that makes sense. Why would anybody question that, you know, that kind of thing. So, but they're very stubborn about things sometimes too, or very less in tune with what their fans necessarily actually want versus like, oh, you want another Mario? Okay, this Mario, you're going to be, you know, Yarn. What? You know, well, I think they did actually not Mario, but they did one that was a Woolly. What was it? What was that little?
Yes, the Yoshi one.
Yoshi. Yeah, there you go.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep. So yeah, they're just like, hey, new video game. There you go. So
we could have made an IP, but we don't know how. So
yeah. By the way,
Yoshi.
I skipped the Nintendo E3 presser because I just didn't care about. I don't have a Nintendo. I haven't played it. I don't care about Mario. I heard about the stuff that was there. I think the Mario game was neat, throwing your hat on like a thing and then becoming that thing. I just don't care.
Is that Kirby?
No, no, it was Mario. It was a Mario. He threw his hat on a frog.
Those abilities.
He threw his hat on a frog and became the fucking frog, like Mario did that. He did it to a dinosaur too.
Sounds Kirby-ish to me.
Okay, I was just looking at I was looking at the game.
That's how B3 sums up the Nintendo conference. He threw his hat on a thing, then he became a thing, and that's a thing.
And it's basically Kirby.
That was Nintendo. No, don't listen to chat. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's talking about something else. So, okay, next thing, God of War. Let's see here. Thoughts? Or have you seen it?
Context, never played a God of War game. It always looked like fun and silly and ridiculous, and looks pretty good mechanically, but I've just never played it. My first impression was, this seems more more like a god thing and less like a
combat starts at
game
around
thing.
155 if you're looking at the
like
video.
it looks like instead of like the I'm just trolling around like a jackass and everything's exploding in blood, it was more like I am doing precise murdery God of War things instead of like just trolling around like just hack and slash because I'm hacking it. Yeah, spin to win. It looks a lot more. It's a different type of brutality. Like instead of just like blah 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 and everything's just exploding and ripping in half, it's more like I am cleaving your limb off very intentionally.
Yeah,
it looked more like a mature version of God of War. Like, all right, before you could just go ham and go wild, with your youthful energy, but no, let's be specific and take our time and do these specific cuts on this enemy and raise this child or whatever he's doing.
That kid thing is weird. I didn't gather anything about that. It was just weird. I was just like, what is your relationship with this weird little bow kid thing?
The kid is his son.
Is it?
Son.
Okay.
Yes, it's supposed to be his son.
Yeah, I actually watched it.
Gotcha.
And listened.
Yeah. I didn't listen to shit.
Yeah,
but I did watch it.
Yeah.
They showed some stuff from before the E3 as well, too, that you kind of knew that it was his son and stuff, but
I didn't follow.
Yeah, it seems like a different version of God of War, and also they kind of changed things around where he seems like he's more into like Viking lore now, kind of. As opposed
he
to...
left his old lands. That's correct.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is like he's like trying to like run, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, yeah, they're gonna the gods here kind of like heard about you and stuff and what you did, so yeah, they're gonna be coming for you. So it's a different. You're right. It's different gods. The Norse
it feels
mythology.
Like a departure. Yeah, it feels like a departure from the old God of War, but
good.
Bringing in the
that's how I felt too. It actually caught my eye.
Element. Mm-hmm.
Like, there's been a lot of God of War games, and a lot of them that people have really highly praised. I've given zero shits. Right. But when I saw this, I was like, huh. Yeah. I'm going to actually watch this.
Yeah, I read Greek and Roman mythology when I was in elementary. I'm not even kidding. Like, I devoured all of that stuff. So that's probably why, to me, I'm like, it's so far back in my past. But Norse mythology always seemed really more mysterious and interesting to me. Mm-hmm. And more brutal. So I really like the combat look of this game. This is a game that I would play combat-wise. I like the visceral feel to it. It feels very close.
That's a good word for it, visceral.
Yeah, you think like I think of like Mad Max when I think of like the visceral, because they have the right amount of screen shake. They have the right amount of like sound for the impact, and the animation is correct in making things look like they're impactful, and the visuals as well. Like, we're going to do a little spark shine here. Okay, they do, that kind of stuff or whatever. And the camera being where it's positioned, like directly kind of like behind him instead of so far away. On some of the God of War stuff, the camera positioning is different. You're more pulled back, I think, from the character. I could be wrong. I probably am.
I think you're correct. But
I know in certain parts you definitely are pulled away. Like when you're doing some platforming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know it pulls away. But this looks good to me. This looks like a Assassin's Creed, Batman, Mad Max, Tomb Raider. Like
I was gonna say it's more Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Looking, but God of War's version of what that
I just
of combat would be like.
Whatever that combat system, they probably have a name for it, like we're going to do this style of combat. That's
super
what
cool
I like.
Guy style,
where you're more a little bit closer in, and you can get that more personal feel to your killing.
Yes, because honestly, if you're fucking killing anybody with a blade, it should feel intimate.
Oh yeah.
It's the most intimate form of murder besides bare hands.
Oh wait, that's blood.
Out,
Oh, that's so good. Wait, what?
Yeah, what I do like about the trailer is that it had a lot of cinematics, but then it tied in the actual gameplay.
Yes.
Of the game. So it's like, hey, you can actually show gameplay in cinematic stuff.
With Shadow of War, same thing.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why I was like, wow, look at all these abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So to me, looks cool. Looks cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be an exclusive. I hope not.
Is good. Then
I'm pretty sure PS4 exclusive. I feel like the God of War series has been like a PlayStation
PS4.
thing.
It's only PS4.
Rip my life.
Exactly.
All right. So
one of these days, Ginger, I'll let you borrow my PS4.
Well, I'll probably get one at some point. Right when the PS4 Pro
420.
What are they going to call it?
5.
Well, they can't go with X, right? Because that's already taken.
That's right.
So PS4 Pro 420. I love that. That would be so good if they did that. Oh my god. They're like, well, Xbox One did that cool little thing with the underscores and the X's. I got to put that back in. So we're gonna do PS4 20. What? Yeah. Or maybe it's a PS4 Vape Nation, bro. That would be cool too. I'd like that. Yeah. Plus, in God of War, they still had the big monsters. Yeah. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
So they're keeping that aspect, which was definitely a part of the game.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead, Phil.
Are we finished with God of War?
No. I feel like you want to say stuff a lot of the time, but you stop yourself. Don't.
No. I was kidding. If we're done, because I wanted to move on to.
Yes, we're moving on. Yeah, go ahead.
What did you think of the new Wolfenstein?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll bring that up
because I know you've played.
I have a list here. Let me bring that up so we can put it here. So if anybody else, like one of y'all or anybody in chat, wants to follow along with the stuff,
it looked different. It looked different than the last Wolfenstein game.
It's the same guys, same developer.
But I mean the art style and stuff, they look slightly different or something. I don't know. I didn't ever play that Wolfenstein. Previous ones.
I have never played any Wolfenstein, but I have watched a bunch of random ones dating it back to some of the older ones too.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. The animation, like the modeling and all that, looks different. It looks more like Fallout to me. But part of it also has to do with color saturation, but also some of it has to do with the fact that they're in that time period of the kind of 50s or whatever, which Fallout really draws from a lot. Plus there's this kind of, grungy look to stuff. It's not necessarily post-apocalyptic because people still live in this world specifically. But yes, the values to me, while I'm looking at this trailer, very saturated. So yes, that kind of pulls away from the original look, which was a little bit more realistic, I guess, when it came to the values overall of color. But the lighting definitely is. Things are a lot more away from realism, I would say. The characters themselves look a bit more stylized. I was going to say exaggerated, but that's correct. Stylized is correct for sure. Yes, sir. Yep. I am absolutely going to buy it. Absolutely excited. I loved, the New Order. I loved it. It's one of the best stories, and I don't really find good stories in video games very often. One of the best stories that I really was invested in, and I actually finished the damn game because it was that good for me. So really good sound work as well, with when they used music, types of music they used. The character, you got to remember, BJ Blazkowicz is a nothing. He started out as Pixel Man that was nothing. Wasn't even something you saw. You saw a gun, and now you have this fully fleshed out, realized character that has a feel that I could connect to. He would talk about in the first one, he was talking about memories he had, and I was like, oh man, I know this, because he's, but I think Machine Games, from what I remember, I think it's Machine Games, did a great job with the first one. I still have yet to play the Old Blood, but I know that's kind of I know it's another game, but it's more like an extension DLC kind of thing or whatever. Even though it is technically a full other game. But I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see what's going on with this.
Nice.
So how do you like the little dialogue with the the Nazi general walking in and ordering the strawberry milkshake and talking to the guy
so good. What it reminds me of?
Really good too.
I
thought it was cool, but I never played. How people if you change things, they might oh man, they changed from that style. I was just wondering from your perspective because I never played any of them. So
it's great.
Me
in fact,
it's cool. It's different. Yeah.
It reminded me of that Nazi movie by Tarantino. Where it's evil, but it's got some cheek to it. So it's that like insidious evil where like I can't do anything about this. You know, like I'm fucked and there's nothing I can do. There's no power here, you know, that I have, and they are lauding that. And you know that they can do whatever they want. So that kind of thing. So yeah, no, but then again, maybe because I also read a lot about World War I, World War II, you know, like when I was growing up as well. So this could be just me and stuff that I am like have memories about through reading. So I kind of have a false sense of nostalgia, you know. So that could be really screwing with my perception of it as well. I just think they got a lot of it right for what I like. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I find like games or movies that depict Nazis as like it's like you have free reign because like nobody liked them, so nobody gives a fuck how you depict them as long as you don't make them the good guys.
Right.
As long as as long as you hate them, but you can laugh at something about them or laugh at something that they do, or but
right.
That's it's just free reign to just do whatever the frig you want with it. So like having a Nazi general that's out there slaughtering people, walk into a diner and just say, "Hey, give me a strawberry milkshake." And it's like, the fuck, strawberry milk? It's like,
oh yeah,
just
that's where
like those kind of,
No, go ahead. Yeah,
no, it's totally. Like paint those kind of like odd, contradictory, images of them.
But they're not, because it's also very human too. Like it's people. Like this is a person that can have feelings other than just straight up murder, and they want to, and they have there's humanity there, believe it or not, and they can be humorous, and they can, it's like, ooh, that it's because it points back to ourselves. It's like, I forget that they're human. No, they're human. They're human. They just have different wants and needs than you. So yeah.
Which is like when people do that and do it well, because I actually wanted to see way more of Christoph Waltz in Inglourious Bastards.
Oh yeah,
because he was such a fucking bastard, but he had depth. He wasn't just like a heinous, murderous, Nazi guy. He was like, hey, I'm doing this because I believe in this, and I actually have, a wife and kids, or like it was like a whole different kind of perspective of looking at it. So
that's one of those movies that is so. It's the same thing with the Django for me, Django Unchained. I actually can't watch them multiple times because they are so rich. It's like eating a very high percentage cacao, like chocolate. It's so rich with flavor that you're not used to it. Unless you're used to eating it, which is weird to me because we're not used to it in the United States. We want sugar all the time. Or like if a person's never drank coffee black, they're like, oh, I hate coffee. And then you put sugar and cream and they're like, oh, this is coffee. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, no, coffee is black the way it should be. Shut up. Get out of my face. God, I remember it. This is why I hate Starbucks too. I was like, yeah, I'll have a coffee, large coffee black. They're like, oh, do you want any? And I was like, no. Coffee black. Do you not understand the concept? Why would I want cream or sugar? I said coffee black, motherfucker. Goddamn. Yeah, having a goddamn Sam Jackson moment at a Starbucks drive-thru. Yeah. Anyways, sorry, derailing. Derails all over. Sorry, but to me, I'm gonna buy the game. I love the game. I recommend everyone play the original. Even if you don't like, I still think that there's mechanically some things that are really good there that they did as well. There's some annoyances that I have, but I think they fixed some of that in Old Blood. But either way, good job by those guys. Machine Games, love them. So yes, moving on. Right?
Yeah.
Something that for some reason didn't get on my list. Metro Exodus.
Oh yeah, I had something on that because I didn't play the second one, which from what I've got, I own it, but I've never played it.
It's like Stalker in a way, where there's a hardcore group of people that love it.
And what I liked about the first Metro, I haven't played the second one, but I have it. But what I really liked about the first one is you start off, you're underground, you're in the subway, and things are kind of creepy, and they're pretty awful. You go up to where there's light, which normally is a relief, but then it somehow is more terrifying, and you almost are like, when can I go back underground?
Yeah.
Which is super fucked up. And this game seems to have a lot more open world. And when I'm watching the above ground gameplay, it lost that completely. And that made me feel a little sad, because that's what I liked so much about the first one, is that it did something totally different that made me feel like all sorts of weird.
Well, I think it's kind of that whole thing of what we're talking about with the other game, where you do something for a while. Let's do something different now, like God of War. You know, it's just
it might be really cool to be able to like have more of an exploratory feel, because
you know what that turns into then?
Was very linear.
That kind of turns into Stalker, and it also turns into Fallout.
Yes. It goes more towards some of those other types of
games. That's why Metro was cool, because it was underground. I remember when the first trailer I saw for Metro, that first game, I don't know if it was 2033 or not, but it might have been. There might have been one before. I'm not sure. I just know I had a friend that was deep into that like game, and Stalker as well. So I always get those games mixed up.
Yeah.
But I think Stalker's the one that's more like nuanced when it comes to stuff. I think that has like a gas gauge and like a O2 meter, and like I know this does.
There's a thing like that too.
But this also Stalker also had stuff like
Stalker has a lot more shit.
Like something like an ion meter or something weird like that, where it could sense like where rifts in time or like space were. So it was weird. That game's weird, and I think fucking amazing, and graphically it looked awesome for the time, and it probably still looks pretty good now. I recommend really looking into it, because you're one of those nuanced kind of players, I think.
Yeah, but, I've had a lot of people recommend different Stalker games to me.
They're very hard.
I don't really like horror-y things as much, and they're like, yeah, but you like Fallout, and you like this,
it's
and
not
you like
really
that, and you'll
horror
really whatever.
Necessarily. It's a shooter, and it's a survival shooter for sure. It just has a lot more micromanagement, in my opinion. But it's also about like exploration. Like there's an underground section that I remember of like this train yard area. I just real quick, and my buddy was just like managing all these like things that he knew about, and this guy was like a heavy like smoker, you know, like I don't mean like cigarettes. And I always amazed me like how he could. I was like, your brain must be running at like fucking 500 times faster than like most people, because you are so fucking smoked out all the time. We're talking classic Cheech and Chong kind of shit. Like, he just, like, the classic stoner. I was like, I don't know how you manage, like, these difficult fucking games when you're just lit to shit. How the fuck does this happen? I was like, if you ever stop smoking, you'd probably be a genius. You know that, right? Because it literally slows you down. That's literally what it does, you know? But anyways, he was in this,
Maybe
like...
he needed that, though.
I'm pretty sure. Like when you need a lot. You need therapy to learn how to make your brain work for the world that we live in. Anyways, that aside, he was in this train yard area, and there were like rifts in space or something like that. And he would get near it, there was like a meter for that, like on his, like he was checking all these different gauges and shit. And then like stuff would come out, and he'd have to shoot them. But I think the same with Metro, there were like certain bullets that you had to use and all that. It was just all this layer of nuance, and I'm like, I would get tired and go to sleep. I don't want that. I'm like, my life, but you know what? He also just worked at a call center. So maybe it's because my life was so fucking, like, I had school. I also worked, you know, like, would do web stuff as well. Cause I would go to like the Air Force Base at that time and was going to school at the same time. So it just was like, my life was full. Maybe that was the thing, you know, maybe it's just, but yeah, I hear that's a really amazing game too. But Metro was a great looking movie that I watched. Once again.
Yes, it was way more cinematic than anything that I've played.
Yep.
With all of the like dramatic camera twists and all that stuff. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they pulled that soundtrack from like 28 Days Later or something. I swear to God. This is why I say don't listen to music or like don't listen to the audio, because that alone was like, oh God, that's awesome. And I'm like, no, the soundtrack is awesome. Just let's see what's going on with the gameplay, you know? And I was like, this looks super scripted. I was like, none of this looks like actual gameplay. It's way too damn on a rail and too smooth, and like, was like, it looks cool as shit. I want to see this animated as a movie, but I don't know how the game's going to go, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, there was one game that actually is not on your list. I thought that was kind of interesting. Did y'all see that game, A Way Out?
No.
No, I don't even.
A Way Out. I'm surprised I haven't seen it.
The group chat.
Okay.
That we had. You could put that in the Twitch channel.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up right now.
Chat. But it's a game where it's made by the same people.
Oh, I did see it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
A brother, was it Brothers? A Tale of Two Sons or something like that. So basically, it's a.
I read about this, but I didn't see this.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a game where you have to play with somebody else.
Yeah.
Which is a bit, specific. Like you have to have somebody to play with. But
yep.
I mean, it's a cool. I like the concept, and everything is split screen. And like when somebody's doing something that's more important than the next, it will give that person more screen coverage, and then it's also not just like horizontal, it's vertical, and you both have different kind of agendas that you want to do to break out of this place. I thought it was interesting.
It's a jail, concept. By the way.
Yeah. Well, sorry, I said place, but I mean prison, jail.
Yeah. I remember the dev saying something about like you have to play with someone that you really trust. So I guess there's ways you can screw each other over or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that whole thing about like when I was saying they have different agendas, so you can screw people over, or you could try to help each other, or interesting to see how it a game like that would play out. I mean, I don't think there's anybody that's done a game like that specifically.
That is one of those things that I'm like, this could make a really good experience, or this could be just super gimmicky, and it ends up just not being all that great.
I like when they do stuff like this. Yeah, go ahead.
It's nice. It's always nice to see somebody try to be innovative or do something different. And these guys, a lot of people really liked the Tale of Two Brothers, Sons, whatever it is. Yeah. So, I mean, it's got some already favor behind them. So,
yeah, I don't even know what that game is, but like, even if they only pull away,
really like that.
Yeah, even if they only pull away one or two concepts at most from like a game like this where they're trying a bunch of different things, that could help. It's like, we never thought about like using this variable split screen thing before. I have an idea, that kind of shit. So, could be interesting. I have zero interest in this game whatsoever, but that's why I didn't put it on my list. But it's good that you brought it up because it does have some interesting technical things. Could be a good time.
It's not a game that I'll play. I probably won't play it, but I like the concept, and I was like, I want to see where they go with it. So I'll probably just like watch people playing it and enjoy that.
Oh yeah,
yeah, should be interesting. Okay. Next, and we don't have to spend all day on these things either, But I looked at Detroit. Detroit's been a game that has been talked about forever. If you haven't heard about it, you're like I believe you're an android. I could be wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah, there's some kind of like uprising going on where it just reminded me to cut to the chase. Deus Ex. That kind of like world and that idea behind it. That's all it reminded me of. Like we're different and we want to be like normal and all that kind of. We want to be accepted and we're people too and stuff like that. Even though we're not. That's all it really reminded me of. And that's a great thing. I also feel a little tired of it. But then again, I've been like reading sci-fi forever. I was literally in the science fiction book club as a fucking nerd.
Yeah, it's one of the
so
it seemed like it has one of those stories that's
bland,
almost cliche. Yeah, like you are an android and you're a second-class citizen or treated worse by some or whatever.
Yeah.
But the people behind it are the Heavy Rain people, I think.
Oh,
and so the storytelling is probably going to be really good, but the gameplay is probably going to be really not interesting to me.
Okay, then this like is that French creative director
Cage,
David Cage.
That's the one.
He does. I wonder if there's probably going to be a shower scene with a young girl in it then that looks like a 12-year-old boy. Okay, so David Cage seems to enjoy that kind of thing. Although I did like him.
Maybe he'll be an android boy girl.
Could be.
So,
yeah,
so it'll be different.
You know, and people criticize his games a lot because he's kind of he's not as bad as whoever that guy. Who's the guy that did like stuff for Black and White and let's see, I gotta look it up. There's another guy that like way overpromised, but the game's never really produced. Let me look it up real quick. He would just always do that kind of stuff. It's not Phil Fish. Phil Fish is just an asshole. Peter Molyneux. In fact, Molyneuxing a game is a thing where you just talk. David Cage kind of Molyneuxs a bit, where he's like, "It's going to be the most amazing ever," and then it turns out
it's an experience that will redefine your everyday life.
He just really sells the whole like, "Oh, it's the next level of humanity that you've never experienced," and it just turns out that you just press the square button, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's always been my thing when I watch people play.
Press
like,
X
like
to Jason.
Rain or whatever. Any of those like really high scripted cinematic ones, especially if they don't rely as heavily on like different variants of choice. It's just a playable movie, and those are fun to watch like once, but to play them, I don't know if I have any interest ever.
No. Oh, damn it. I didn't want to put all that garbage in there. I wanted to put the thing without clicking on the thing. Hold on, I'll put a proper link in a second here. It put the goddamn Google search for it. There we go. There's the corrected link. But that's the press X to Jason from Heavy Rain. Jason! Yeah, just over and over.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's that.
It's great, though. Like, you can find fun in it. But it really, in that game, I remember there was an extremely depressing part where, like, you're in the little place that you have on your own as the father, and the son comes over, and he's, like, doing his homework, and you're just, like, a washed-up, worthless wreck of a human being in a shitty fucking little apartment with nothing to eat. You know, it's just is like, oh, yeah, this is depressing as fuck. You know, because I believe his wife died, is what it, or no, one of the other kids died, right? Is what it was in Heavy Rain. I think one of the kids died, got hit by a car or something like that. I think that's what it was. And then it just like tears the family apart, is what it is, you know? So, anyways, interesting game. Okay, so Dab, Detroit visually looks interesting, might be interesting. I don't know, but I brought it up there because to me it is kind of interesting. I think all his games are kind of interesting. So next, we kind of talked about it before, Beyond Good and Evil 2. Some people were like, oh, but it doesn't have the original characters, whatever. I think that's what one of the complaints that I heard was already. I never played the first one, so I have zero like nostalgia for this game.
No nostalgia or attachment or understanding of the I never watched anybody play the game or anything. It is completely foreign to me.
Yeah, but what I saw, I want to see this movie once again. Like the animation that they did for it, beautiful.
Pretty cool looking cinematics.
Oh yeah, so good. Like the character, like they just did a damn good job with the animation, lighting, the character modeling, all of it. So good. Can I just watch the movie? I don't want to play the game.
Yep.
Yeah. That's all I got on that. Looks beautiful, though.
Yeah, it was cool. I don't know if it's my kind of game, but I'll watch and see how it goes.
Yeah. Somebody get it so I can watch them play it.
Somebody will. It's one of those things that people are all jizzing over, so.
Yeah. Like
someone
the Shadow of
Colossus, no matter what.
You know?
Yeah.
It'll be on Twitch.
Yeah. Osiris New Dawn looked kind of neat. Early access game, I believe, but looks like you just it's one of those space explore the planet. But I like the style.
What's that?
I
think I remember Count having.
Yeah, he streamed it.
I have not seen it, so to me it's new.
Count owns it. He streamed it already.
Looks neat. I don't know what it played like.
It looks like
needed more
No Man's Sky, but it had a lot of different other things going on.
Yeah,
No Man's Sky with like actual combat and stuff in it.
I see a mech here, and a big spider.
Yeah, it wasn't that was like a few months ago, so I don't know where it is now.
Well, even No Man's Sky has been updating too. Remember, I'm not opposed to playing No Man's Sky. Remember, I'm like one of those people that actually would play it. I just wouldn't know. I'm very cautious and didn't buy it like an idiot. That's all, you know. So, but this looks neat to me too. And like I said, I'm if it looked neat, I'm bringing it up. But yeah, definitely kind of little neat thing there. But yeah, kind of crafting survival kind of game once again. But graphically, because the dog, stop hitting. You probably can hear that, right? He's like beating up the mic stand, like the bottom of it, because he's trying to position his blanket. Go ahead, buddy. But now I interrupted him. So oh my god. All right, fair. It's like, why you do this? Why? I was busy doing things. Okay, so I'm bringing up the next one here. It is called Unruly Heroes. Have you seen this game?
I already forgot about it. So
the art style on it is nice. I very much like. I like the art style. It is a 2D side-scrolling platformer.
That's why I immediately forgot about it.
Mm-hmm. But the key point,
it's pretty.
Very Disney art kind of in a way. Art style. Very colorful, very smooth, clean.
Oh, yeah, I did see this too. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Detailed as well, like texture-wise. I just really enjoy... it looks like they had fun.
Very specific, and maybe it is Disney, and that's why, but it's very... Like, I've seen this specific style before somewhere.
Yeah, this is very Disney. It's not exact at all, because they don't always go this harsh with their, like, lines and stuff like that, or angles or stuff like that. But some of the details, but it is it comes close. That's the closest I can say, like to stuff to kind of get people an idea. Lighting and stuff like that, color value, usage, and all that. Yeah, it reminds me more like Disney animation. But really fucking cool looking. Really neat.
Another Wukong in it?
Probably.
Because I see a monkey with the staff.
Inspired by famous Chinese legend, A Journey to the West. Yep. There you go. Better known as the Monkey King legend. So that is Wukong for sure. Correct.
There you go.
But you know what? Even on Netflix, there's a shitload of like Wukong monkey videos. That's just it's one of the.
I'm not calling it out as a bad thing. It's just like that is a very funny. Time I see a monkey with a staff, I'm like, Wukong?
Yeah, and I didn't say you were. I'm just saying it's just one of those, kind of like Thor or something, I guess, in a way or something. This next one, Observer, is kind of neat to me because I like
it looks neat to me too, and I will never play it because it looks terrifying.
I think I won't play
Cyberpunk horror game. Like when I haven't read Cyberpunk in a long time, but when I read it, some of the weird shit that my brain was kind of trying to like capture, it looks of the same vein as some of the shit, except this does it way better than my brain has ever done it.
There you go. So I'm going to drop that in chat if anybody is crazy enough to read it.
Stuff, Phil. It's nuts.
Yeah, visually it's weird, quirky, interesting, techno,
but still appropriate.
9 Inch Nails. So, and it's cool. I like that stuff, and I think that was a lot of 90s things for me. So that's why that probably is embedded in my brain as well. And the sci-fi stuff I grew up with, and cyberpunk in general I remember all that stuff. There was a guy, Divine Cybermancy. That was a game. I said guy, I think, but a game. There was a game that came. The guys that did. I was probably merging those two thoughts together. The guys that did the Warhammer 40,000 game, which by the way had an update recently. It's shit. What's the name of that game? Oh my god, I'm forgetting the name of the game. But it's the one that I played that kind of breaks and
Space.
No, not Space. God damn it. Dead something? No. Why can't I find it now? I'm looking through my Steam list.
I thought it was Space Hulk something.
Space Hulk. That's correct.
Yeah.
I thought that's what you meant.
That's what I was going with. Space. Yeah. Deathwing.
Deathwing. That's why it's not down in Warhammer. Yeah. Where is it here?
Anyway, yeah.
But they just had an update, actually. They're still putting out fucking updates to that thing. Can you believe that?
They had a sale on it, too. I think it was like 50% off or something.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what I like about the
but that's the same developer.
some of the weird like the tech stuff that just ran. It reminds me of like when I first read Neuromancer, and they're talking about like the weird glass sky or whatever, and all like the weird tech shit that like isn't a real thing, but like that shit's here, and that's what I think is really cool about it.
Yeah. To clarify, this is not the same developer as iDevice Cybermancy and Space Hulk Deathwing. What I meant by that's the same developer was in regards to those two games, because I was talking about those. This is someone called Bluebird Team, the creators of Layers of Fear, which I think I've heard of, but I've never. Yeah, so that's who's doing this. But
they're pretty notorious for the horror part, so
there you go.
That speaks to the horror aspect of it.
And
but
this
it
is
definitely
PC
looks
and
cyberpunky
Xbone
to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it specifically says in the description for it, cyberpunk horror game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm totally down with that. I like that stuff. Should be a good time.
It's cool. I'm impressed by it, and like, I don't really like horror games even remotely.
I also feel like I don't
it's
want to
really
play it,
impressive.
Graham, but I really want to see it. And that might have something to do with, like, maybe, I don't know, something my brain's changing over to where I don't want to put the effort into playing these games. I just don't. I don't know what it is, but I would love to see them.
You want the experience.
I want the experience.
But you don't want to go through the hubbub.
I want to see the well done stuff. Well, because that game, what you got to also remember, and I guess when I explain these things, I should bring it up. I'm into mechanics. This does not look like a mechanically amazing game.
Right. I was talking to somebody else about like 2 different games, and that's what they were saying. Like, one game is really good, but the mechanics are different. Like Alien Isolation doesn't have a whole lot of mechanics to it.
John Slice,
but
me and him both like
that's
mechanics,
exactly who I was talking to.
and both don't find stories.
I was talking to him because he was playing Dead Space, and I was like, they're very
Before
different
you
games,
showed up,
but I'm
we
just
had a
curious about
big
what you
conversation
think.
about that kind of stuff.
That's really funny. That's hilarious.
We're very similar when it comes to like what we like in games. The only difference is he's like, I like to stay very calm so people can just watch the game and not.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't care. Like when I do this stuff, most of it's for so people can find some kind of entertainment. Plus, it's my way to like kind of like do that stuff that I wouldn't be doing normally. I'm not going to go to the store and be like, fucking coffee's on sale for, I'm not going to be doing that, but I'll do it because it's fun for me to act it out. That's exactly. My acting out.
Yep.
But, okie dokie. Battlefront 2.
Looks pretty cool.
That's all I can say. All this presentation.
Shiva Community.
Yeah, Shiva Community. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it seemed like more of the same. They didn't really show much to me. Like it felt like there
was a lot if you watched the extended gameplay, but you had to go and watch other videos that were not the trailer. Yep.
I watched them like showing like the dog fighting and using the different little mechs and stuff in it.
Yep.
I don't know. To me, the story mode is what's going to make and break that. In my opinion. Yeah.
And that's
looks really
what I'm
though.
mostly interested in, and it does look pretty good. Like when the first Battlefront whatever came out, I was like, oh, whatever. It seems pretty hyped, and I played the demo, which was obviously just multiplayer because that's all it was. And I was like, if I strip away all like the fluff and flair, it's pretty So I was like, yeah, fuck this. A lot of people are going to just be like, oh my god, it could be shit in a bucket, and I would pay $70 for it because Star Wars. So then a lot of people were upset when they realized the game was, it was okay.
Right.
But yeah, but this offers something to me that even if the multiplayer or whatever is still kind of just okay, it gives me something that I think I will enjoy.
Yes, if I can play a single player in this environment, I don't know where they're attacking. I want to say Coruscant, but that's the only place I really know that has a lush green environment like this. But I'm looking at the trailer from the beginning. You look at like some of the color usage, it's just not bland and dead like the first one, number one. So they're actually attacking a little town or city, whatever, that has some character to it. Architecture looks great. You're in the city. It's dense. with visual. Like, I mean, there's so much going on. Like, even the ground, there's like a checkerboard looking, not really checkerboard, but like, I guess marble, checkered kind of ground there. There's just so much there to look at visually that it looks like a place that you want to fuck up.
Yeah.
There's trees all over, and you're a stormtrooper or a droid. Apparently, I can see you're riding a little like tiny little.
And when you have the Frostbite engine and stuff that was designed to blow shit fucking up, give me something to blow the fuck up.
Yeah, they were flying aircraft through the city. Like there was I can see it like in some of these things, and I hope that's not just all cinematic stuff.
Right.
But that looks really cool. There's Darth Maul going through, tearing shit up. That looks awesome. There's just so much stuff there. Your jump jet, stormtroopers, things exploding. It just, yes, don't just put me out in the desert or in the wasteland, snowy wasteland, just because that's part of the book. Give me something that's actually going to keep me interested too, you know? And that to me looks visually interesting. So, but yeah, I agree. I think the story's going to really make or break the game.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Then again, we have to think about Titanfall 2. Then again, depends on what's coming out.
Great character development.
Depends on what's coming out, really, around it, because that's really the real deal with that. So, I'll delete the Shiva Kamini Soma Kanda Crumb that I wrote here. Okay, because that was just for Battlefront 2.
I don't know. I still really like her dress. She looks good.
I like her entire person.
Yeah, I liked her. She came up with attitude.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Character has to have that.
I was unhappy that no one fucking reacted. You dead pieces of shit. There was nothing. I didn't hear any cheering or anything. There was no cheering. You know?
It was kind of quiet. Yeah,
it was super quiet. Like, go back and watch that. I just watched it yesterday, and it was just like, and I was almost like, I wonder if she feels like, okay, you know, like, really, nothing, really. But anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she's been acting for a while, so yeah, she has to be used to getting a reaction.
The only other game thing that I think that I thought was interesting was the Monster Hunter World.
Yeah.
Just because I have had zero interest in Nintendo for a long time, and every once in a while somebody, I think it was the Wii U, like would stream the Monster Hunter game or whatever, and I'd be like, this looks like something that I probably would play. Kind of open world, just like murdering giant things and collecting crap. I agree. And so the fact that it is not on Nintendo and it's going to multiple platforms is kind of neat to me. Because now I know that this is an option for me if I decide to pursue it. But I haven't been following it all. But just the fact that I know it's an option now, I think is neat.
Yeah, and it's you know, it's part of a series, so you would hope that at this point that it's actually pretty good, you know.
Yeah. Right.
But I did hear like one fan of that game like, oh, it's gonna be really good. So I don't know if that's good or not. It's hard to tell. He's a fan.
Most people that have played it seem to really enjoy it. But because it was a handheld for a long time, like whatever the series, and I feel like there's not a huge player base that overlaps with my communities that is surrounded around that I don't have a whole lot of people that I know.
Well, I know there's an MMO version of it from what I remember. I'm pretty sure there is. So that's all the games that I have.
But yeah, that's all I had for games too.
For sure. And we're at like 3 hours. So if you have more games, bring them on. But
there's only one other game that I heard about afterwards called Strange Brigade. It looked like a cool kind of horde mode kind of game.
Strange Brigade. I saw that, but for whatever reason, I did not put it on the list for me. I don't know why. I'm gonna look at it again here. Oh, that's
I don't know
why.
how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably the art style or something you don't like.
I don't like the time period. It's like a 30s, like I see it now.
Will our plucky hero survive?
Yeah, I just don't like that. From the creators of Sniper Elite and Zombie Army trilogy. And plus, it's also a zombie fighting, and
some of the things about it, even though it's obviously got different things like third person and whatever, it's more colorful. It reminds me of similar to like the Call of Duty zombie modes, where you're running around and you're picking up weird power ups and all sorts of stuff. And I think I've said it before, but for whatever reason, even though I love like horde modes and survivals and wave things, for whatever reason, Call of Duty Zombies, which is one of the most popular variants of that, has never been interesting to me. I find it really boring.
Yeah, I'm going to look at this again because I don't know. I'm trying to nail down.
This looks more appealing to me than Nazi Zombies, but I don't know. But
it's not one that I would snatch up. Say, oh man, I definitely want to play this. But I just thought it was like one of those ones that kind of flew under the radar that looked kind of cool.
Yeah.
It looks like they put work into it. I'm not going to lie. Why would I say that? That's so stupid. It looks like they put some work into it. There's something about the animations and maybe the stances of some of the things that just look stiff to me. And so that's, I guess, where I don't know. I'm going to get you a better answer. Like, I really got to look at it. I hate, like, giving something shit for no reason. I just know that I didn't feel whatever I would normally feel if I was interested in something.
It didn't grab you initially in any way.
Yeah, in any way. Yep.
Yeah, and so because of that, you haven't
defined that yet. Because I had a lot of shit other to look at. Yep.
Yeah. To me, honestly, just kind of straight me as a kind of game that like, you got a bunch of friends, you want to play it? Yeah, cool. But instead of that... Like maybe player, I probably wouldn't.
I don't know. I have no
maybe
idea
the concept,
the way it plays, but some people might enjoy the challenge of trying to do it solo. Usually, they're designed in a way that's really difficult.
I'm sure people play it solo. For me personally,
I just naturally assumed that it was 4 people. Do you know?
That's what I'm saying. Maybe the concept. I don't know what the concept actually is because the trailer doesn't really. It shows a team of 4, but. Maybe there's something I'm missing. I just saw a giant Anubis, by the way. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. What's going on there,
Yeah. The gameplay that I saw only had 2 people playing, but the trailer shows 4 people. So maybe it's 4-player co-op.
4 fearless adventurers explore the ancient world as one of 4, each with their own special powers. So maybe you cycle through them. Experience a rip-roaring new adventure for 1 to 4 players filled with pulse-bonding action. Okay.
4 heroes each have
a horde
abilities, unique, and well as skills. And they battling ancient horrors, so like Anubis and so forth.
Horrors, yes, that's correct.
To
clarify,
the world that you can grab and all that.
HORROR, not WHORES, guys. All right. Anyone listening? He said horrors. Ancient horrors. Whoa, bro. Sorry.
Hey, it's Egypt theme. There might be a Cleopatra in there. What?
Oh, it's only Egypt. I didn't realize that either.
It says we get to see a couple different weapons and the types of enemies in this ancient Egypt themed environment.
I was looking at the video thing and I didn't see that there.
Yeah, I looked up something else that had words.
Gotcha.
Each character with their own special weapons and unique traits, and they all have ultimate abilities unique to them. So I guess the characters themselves are their own type of classes into. So it's kind of that more hero-oriented class play.
Well, there's some Egypt stuff. There you go. Well, the Assassin's Creed Origin, which I didn't bring up because I don't give a shit about, but that's also I think going to be set in.
Yeah, it is. It is Egypt. You're right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That honestly looked like more Assassin's Creed. I was like, wow, y'all took time off to make the same shit, right?
It really made something that could have been cool setting-wise into, like... just
sorry, Assassin's Creed fans. I know some of you still exist.
Assassin's Creed, thing
is, though, I think if you're an Assassin's Creed fan, you're probably going to love it. You probably love what you saw, but
that's true.
Maybe like more the same.
And you know what? There might be something there that's really fucking cool. But from what I saw, I was like, I got to be interested in Assassin's Creed in order to want to play that. So, and I don't want to. I'm not that interested in it. Game's done. There's one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was up last night before I went to sleep, or maybe when I woke up early, or like before I went to sleep and then because I only slept like 4 hours. And there was something like people that kept tweeting or retweeting, and that was hitting my you know.
Phil and I were playing Paragon, and we were talking about this a little bit too.
Yeah,
I don't want to name anything, but there was apparently a Twitch streamer that went missing during E3, like the last day of E3, if this is what y'all are talking about, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've kind of read some of that. Like, I was very hesitant to retweet any of that, and this is going to make me look like the biggest fucking asshole in the world. But hey, what is my position in life? To call it like I see it, even if that means I'm a piece of shit. At the same time, I'm not one of those people that tries to give lessons to people when shit's not known. I'm not going to go and say like, well, don't do that. And it's like, look, there's a person that people don't know where this person is. You don't know what's going on. Now is not the time to try to give people lessons, okay? But some people on the internet were doing that. It was like, well, this and this and that. Shut up. You don't know what's going on. Could be bad. Could be not bad. Don't know. But, so, like, it was a female Twitch streamer, you know, and apparently they were last seen at, like, some kind of Twitch mixer. And then after that, nobody knew where she went. Nobody heard from her. They couldn't contact her. And the next day, when she had to go to panels and stuff like that to actually be there for panels, you know, because apparently she's partnered with companies too. It's not like me as a Twitch streamer. No, this person has like fucking clout and stuff too. Is actually getting there, you know. They weren't at the panels. Still, nobody could get a hold of them. Friends didn't know where this person was. Any of that. So that is definitely something to say. Okay, what's going on here? Like, Graham, if you and RPG, who else is going to be going to, well, anyways, I know you and RPG go to TwitchCon, and you just don't hear from RPG, like he doesn't show up. Like, let's say you're staying in the same hotel, and you don't see him, but he has his own room. If you don't see him, that's not necessarily cause for alarm that night.
Right.
But if the next morning you also don't see him.
We were supposed to eat breakfast or something, right? And
at that
I'm like,
point,
oh, well, he didn't show up, and then like I go knock on his room and I get nothing or
right.
whatever.
That still might not be like, oh my god, like, he's dead in a gutter.
Exactly.
You know? But it's still, but at that point, it's me. I'm definitely like, okay, did I miss something, or is this normal behavior for this person? I actually don't know this person, so maybe they got hot Cosby. Thank you for that joke, Watusi. And that's what people were worried about too, because this young female, I don't know, in her Twitter, she said she was, who knows, she looked very young to me, but you know, images. People were worried that she got hot Cosby'd or something, right? Because off by herself, nobody's with this person. So this is where, you know, partway I kind of wanted to count in this, because he was always up for, you know, looking at the sexist side of things and talking about like how feminists need to go fucking suck it. But so he could, you know, he could understand where I'm going with this. We're going back to the whole thing of like, people were like, she needed a man to be with her. And I was like, what? She's an adult. She's an adult. And while I kind of agree that it being late at night, somebody should have somebody with it, I don't know that a man unarmed would necessarily do anything against a man with a gun or a knife, unless they were that person were Chuck Norris. You know, that doesn't always.
Bigger numbers do ward off, and especially when you're out partying and drinking,
right?
Having more people always helps.
Yeah, my point was like, you know, all of the same old bullshit that people on the internet say that they're not party to are actually party to. Exactly. Her. Why did she blah 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 blah? And then, you know, it's the person's fault that they're blah blah blah, and then, you know, all kinds of garbage. And I was like, wow. And I wouldn't have seen it, and I was like, I was on the verge of like, well, this is bad. I should just probably retweet this just because, you know. Not that I know anybody that would, whatever though, right? Because it got tweeted from a few people I knew. And then I was like, kind of reading stuff, and then I was thinking, you know, I dated a girl once in my 20s that was a binge drinker. Very common in your 20s to find people that are binge drinkers, early 20s especially, early to mid, even to late sometimes. Some people don't learn. So they'll still go out, and that means weekends or specific events, they will get drunk. They don't stop drinking
Yep.
until they are fuck drunk. And this girl was one of those girls too. She was like that. She was pretty decent. She was studying to become like, I think in medical school or whatever like that, you know, she's a smart girl, all that. But for whatever reason, she did not know how to handle that stress. And so when it came to like, it was like, it's club time. It's time to get fucked up, you know, and all that. And yeah, she was a goddamn mess. And I didn't see her after a while because that is a mess of a person to deal with. So my mind went to, she might have, when people were saying that she drank a lot. They did, like, you know, in the thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, she probably got hammered to all shit. And they said that the last they heard was that she was going to some strip club. And she probably went to the strip club and got more hammered. And after that, who knows? Maybe she went home with some person because, hey, that happens. That's a normal thing, you know? People get fucked up and they go with people.
And when you wake up with a badass hangover, you're just like, shh, brain, no.
Yeah, I have, when I used to drink back in my day, I would get so fucked up sometimes. You know, I had my sessions too. Because you're with friends, you know, it's not like you do it every fucking day or whatever. But, and you learn lessons. But I had my sessions too where I would not be fine until the evening. Like, I would be so sick because you can see you just drank so much or you drink the wrong thing. That's why I learned early on, don't drink shots, guys. Don't fucking do it. It seems like, oh, people are like, man, get the fuck out of here. How about you go throw up in about an hour or 5 and I will be perfectly fine with no fucking hangover because I'm not a dumbass. So I learned, if you're going to drink shots, stick to one thing, you know, shots are a horrible idea. Anyways, so you can get real fucked and you could be sick for an entire day because number one, you can't eat. Number one, your body's out of sync. If you don't know how to drink water and you haven't been doing it because you're garbage at drinking, all that stuff is very normal. So you could be sick or just have a bad hangover till late in the evening. I remember that happening. So I was like, that's probably what happened with her, you know? Second thing is, I was like, she's probably just embarrassed, you know? Like seeing all this stuff. I mean, who wouldn't be? It's like, oh my God, all I did was go get fucked up and get fucked. And now I've got a bad hangover and I'm with the person that nobody knows, or maybe I'm not with them anymore, but I don't want to go back. I don't want to have to deal with all the, and I knew girls like that too, they just didn't want to deal with any of the questions. So they would lie and lie, you know? So I was like, all of this rings like just bad, standard, young adult, bad decision behavior to me. So it's like, I think people are taking it a little too far. But you also never know. So, you know.
It's true.
They did blow it the fuck up and go to the police station and do fucking security camera shit and all this. It was insane. And I was like, wow.
Twitch self-tweeted a thing, too.
God,
so.
that was...
Yeah. What happened in the end with the young lady?
Well, so that's a very, very good question. She's fine, number one, in a way, right? Like, she's okay. Her attitude about it, though, when she found out was like just a shitty one. Like, guys, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong. Everything's... I just went to go, you know... play poker is what she said, you know? And it was like, did you not see all of the effort that everybody just put in? Fucking companies, big names, I think Pepsi even, I think it's, you know, like big companies actually retweeted some shit. Big names in the industry, you know, like in streamers and all that stuff. Actually, I saw Meg Turney used to be with like Rooster Teeth, used to be but she, you know, like she was like, oh, I hope you're okay, you know, because she's she's very attractive, small, you know, she's very short, very thin girl, so I'm pretty sure she thinks about that kind of stuff, you know. Anybody that would normally have to worry about like any kind of, like me, if I go missing for a day, no one's gonna give a fuck. Everybody like, oh, okay, yeah, you know what? We just hope he didn't kill anybody. Because we know his attitude, and you know, so you know that's more the worry. It's not like, wow, we hope he didn't get hot Cosby'd, but hey, that happens to dudes too, all right. But or so I've been told. But so yeah, it's more of the fear of like sexual assault for women or being kidnapped or that kind of stuff, or you know, or whatever. But there's a variety of things, and my thoughts actually went to this person probably just got fucked up drunk. And, you know, just, that was what it was, you know. And then, words of like drugs. Now, I don't know any of that stuff, and she can't confirm it, and that's none of me to care about. But yeah, the attitude was just like, yeah, you guys are taking this way too far. And then people were like telling her stuff, and she was just being flippant about it. Like, whatever. And I was like, oh, I've met girls like that seem to have like no connection to empathy, It's like, look, you are now in a position where companies are relying on you to be kind of like a spokesperson because they're partnered with you at this point. You are now a part of their company image-wise. This is not a good thing for you to go blow off your panels, and blow off people that are trying to help you, like we're concerned about your whereabouts and whatnot. Because she said her phones, apparently she had more than one phone, were both dead. It's like, really? There's almost no belief that I have in that. And I've heard that line before too. Pretty much anytime that happens, the chance of your phone dying is very, very slim, most of the time. When you're out on vacation traveling, yeah, it's usually higher. But if you have multiple phones, it just, too much of it was just like, something's going on there. I don't know what it was, but it was such a shit show that it's just crazy. And then fucking like Reddit or 4chan, somebody got involved and they're like fucking triangulating through image, like, oh, this pixel here shows to be a sign. So they found out where this chick took a video and we're like, look, she's at some cheap ass motel. She probably got fucked. It's the worst things, and they're all telling this dude stuff. It's like, oh my god, I've never been party to having to look at any of this stuff. I've heard about Twitter being this way, and I've never seen it. This is like some high school shit.
None of that shit showed up in.
Oh, you know why? You know why, right?
Why?
Because this is all ISIS's fault. That's how they're destroying our country right here. This is the giant ISIS terrorist threat.
But it was an interesting little journey.
Talking about it being all in their feed, and I saw none of that in my Twitter feed. I'm just.
Well, you might not be like. There's people in extended Twitch family, so to speak. Because I don't like using the word family, but it's the best word I can pull to mind right now. Extended network. Twitch network that I will, and even closer to me, that are good human beings and just care. And I am a good human being and care, but I'm also very skeptical as well and have a lot of experience in life. And so not that I don't care, but I saw the support that was going on and knew that I didn't necessarily need to contribute and didn't know that it was really anything I could bother with. But I was going to like, all right, well, let's just see how this plays out. Because the other thing that came to mind was she probably just got fucking hammered and is off somewhere. Yeah. And I just, because you know what I did? I went to her feed and I started reading past stuff. When she got partnered with something, it was something about like, oh, got to start cleaning up the act because whatever. And I was like, huh. And you can tell by communication, like how somebody kind of is, whether you want to believe that or not, but yeah, it's just what it is, and I was like, yeah, okay, I see kind of the attitude this person has, whatever. And I was like, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. They've gotten where they are. And friends of hers were like this and that and blah, blah, blah. Apparently she's done this many times before. And I was like, so she's a pretty standard young to mid 20s, whatever person that doesn't, maybe she was even scared of the fame that came along with being partnered, Don't know, There's stresses in life that everybody has, Some other people, everybody was way jumping into conclusions on a lot of fucking things. And it's a shit show and a half. And it's out there if you want to read about it. She put up a video and then she deleted it, but people still caught it. If you ever think that you're putting something online and that it's free, like from like eyes, it's never. Oh, yeah. It's never. She put it on there for like like less than a minute, and somebody had captured it and put it on YouTube. It was just, oh yeah. People are like, oh, it's right here. Yeah. No, she deleted it, but we got it right here. Here it is. See, she's in a place that she shouldn't be. All that kind of stuff. I was just like, wow, yeah. And then she should just not have gotten on to Twitter afterward. It's just a mess. Like, she's like almost like making it worse by far by responding to people. I was just like, get the fuck off of it. You need a PR person, clearly. You don't know how to talk to people.
Wait, is she supposed to be a PR person?
Oh, God. Well, look, here's the thing about, like, what, personalities, right? Is or whatever Xbox, Twitch streamers or what in this day and age. I scrolled up and I saw Xbone X. Oh, okay. I was looking at my podcast notes. Is that people become popular for a reason in life in general, right? And not always does it have to do with the person's attitude or how they conduct themselves. Sometimes it's just what they look like, And to be fair, on my stream, okay, I've been to many streams, and I've never made comments about how a streamer looks, specifically females. Like, guys, I will throw comments around because I don't care, because I don't mean it. I don't care. I don't give a shit. But I always respect women. It's an old-fashioned thing. I'm sorry. I'm fucking stick in the mud. I'm bland. I'm boring. I know that. And I even turn women off because they think they might like me because of how I look, but then I start talking about stuff, and they're like, oh, my God, you're fucking boring. Yeah, you got no game, boy. Get the fuck out of here, But it's because I don't care to play the game, Sometimes when I want to, sure, I'll fucking pull. But that's not the thing that I want in life. It doesn't fulfill me, to do that kind of stuff all the time. Or even ever anymore now. But I've had people come to my streams and comment about my looks or whatever in a positive way, but things that I would never say to females. So that double standard's there. And do I bitch about it? No. But I'm just saying, and also in life too. Shit, I remember incident where people have come up to me, like women have come up to me in bars, and just women are not normally the ones that initiate these things. So when it happens to you more often than not, that, okay, there's something that people like about whatever it is, So what I'm getting at is that, yes, people can get away with some level of fame or whatever it is just by looks alone. And eventually, yes, they can destroy themselves through their fucking words and attitude, And so I try to stick by just my words and attitude. And I think that's what keeps me where I'm at. Oh, so good. And I love it, though, Because, people were, like, really giving this girl shit for stuff. And I'm like, she's just probably normal like most other people. But now she's put up on the platform that everybody wants her to be a certain way. But they want to ignore the fact that she's got problems like everyone else, So, yeah, good luck to her. And, geez, it's quite an adventure if you're really bored. Go out there and check that shit out,
Yep.
But, yeah. And if I had mentioned, like, let's say I wanted to say at one point, you guys might want to call it, she's probably just drunk somewhere sleeping. That would have looked like me being an asshole, like, we're really concerned she's probably raped and burned by now. And I'm like, oh, people literally said those things, And I was like, wow, but I would look like, people would jump on me more. I know it.
Oh, yeah.
Through experience.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, and it's
don't you dare state possibilities. This could be the worst thing ever.
Yeah,
you don't know that it's not the case. I don't even know. I don't either, but I'm ignoring that.
I don't know that it was the best thing for that person to do, like her friend to throw that on Twitter like that. I really don't. I really kind of feel like it shouldn't have been that way, because there were clearly friends around there that were actually actively doing work. And then the police were involved. So at most, I might have, like, privately contacted companies.
Hey,
maybe.
Let's just put it this way. Ex-cop contacted Twitter.
Yeah.
Some people would do some crazy shit.
Uh-huh. Yeah. What is he saying? That reminds me of Bungie's attitude. Yeah, we changed the dates. Get over it. Oh, about her. Yeah, her responses to people. They're pretty bad. Yeah, they're pretty bad. But, it is what it is, I just was like, I woke up and, like, all of it had gotten resolved. But reading was like, holy shit.
I think the fundamental thing here, Janzer, is some people have, like, a problem or, like, anxiety, and then they
could be
focus that to apply logic to a appropriate solution, other people react extremely emotionally.
Yep, that's me.
Usually when that happens, people don't like check their instinct. Their instinct is to go to like whatever they normally go for output. And so if they are used to talking with people on Twitter or posting on Facebook or whatever, venting there, that's where they're going to go.
Yeah. Like I see some people vent stuff like, y'all don't do this, please. Don't vent like about relationship stuff. Like, don't do it. This is not I don't want it looks bad on you. You know, it just looks like you can't handle your shit. Like, there's a modicum of, like, respect you should have for yourself. This is just old man Janzer now, all right? Honestly, it is. But I'm like, there should be some level of, like, privacy that you keep. Like, you know, I'll talk about my allergies. I'm not going to talk about things that I'm just not going to talk about. I'm not even going to mention them. That's how, you know, because I think that should be your personal life.
I have this weird rash on my butthole, and I can't pay rent.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
That's the type of shit that you see sometimes, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then, like, let's say there are some things that are very bad that are happening to you. You need to go to fucking counseling. You need to find somebody. Like, there are resources out there for that stuff, you know? Apparently this girl, you know, her friends were saying that maybe she has drinking problems, what it is, you know? It sounds like she's probably a binge drinker. I don't know, though. But it sounds like, and what do I fucking know? Because I don't fucking know shit. I just know a few tweets and that's it, you know? But if that's the case, then yeah, this is probably an ongoing, and I know a girl like that. There's an ongoing thing. Family cared for her, I cared for her. You cannot fix another person. You know, that's another thing too. They have to come about it themselves, and you can stick around and be a good person all you can, and that's all you can do until you don't. But yeah, you know, a lot of crazy things. Twitch streamers and all that, people that get into super high popular things, they're still just people. And they don't always deal with things the best way because they're still just human beings and not fucking corporate entities. And corporate entities are not fucking people. All right. Anyways.
Yep.
Yeah. Back on my rocker now.
But if anybody that's listening, you know, really is just like, I gotta say something on Twitter, tweet out the B3 GamingCast.
That's scary, Graham. I don't want to hear about like my stool was purple.
B3 GamingCast.
I just meant shout us out.
Okay.
I was doing a networking thing.
That sounded like if you want to say something but you can't say it to anybody else, tell us.
That's all right. It'll mostly fall on you then. You're the one that's gonna see that shit more than
I know. That's why I'm like, no, don't. I have this weird rash on the tip of my penis. What? Oh, jeez.
Oh, that doesn't make me think of Rafi
Just
things.
the tip. Yeah. Where were you sticking your dick? Oh God.
Be Jewish? That means I got
Beehive.
Tip of my dick off, right?
Just cut it off.
Well, that's great because it's ever since you got frostbite, it's just been black and numb at the end.
Oh wow.
Oh, Rafi.
Racist. What? Let's stop this. It's turning into a burning pile of garbage, which I enjoy, and that needs to stop. Plus, I think we pushed everybody out of chat anyways, except for Atusi, who's like, "This is great."
We covered a lot of E3 stuff and a whole bunch of other stuff too. This is a long.
This was venting.
Podcast.
Yeah,
it's good though.
I'm out.
Lots of topics.
Phil's been dead for like 30 minutes.
Yourself some therapy.
Thanks to everybody who came to the live thing and everybody who listens to us on the brag.
Yeah, thanks for the
Appreciate
bits.
the support.
Watusi, Count, Graham, throw you in there too. And yeah. Well, yeah, I should be doing another stream this week some point for B3, and so we'll see what happens. Yeah, sweet. Just to kind of keep that up. Okay, we're out of here. Shutting off.
Adios.
Later.
Outro music, go! There's none.